And let's start by having a look at the order of business this afternoon. A couple of motions are set to be moved on the floor of the House. The chairperson ad hoc committee on managed equipment services will be moving a motion on the adoption of the report of the ad hoc committee on managed medical equipment services, that the Senate adopts the report of the ad hoc committee. This is on managed equipment services into the inquiry of the managed equipment services project by the Ministry of Health. The report was laid on the table of the Senate, the date being 8th of September 2020. Also lined up for debate in this afternoon session is the provision of cemetery funeral parlors motion by Senator Alice Milgol. The prompt payment bill, Senate Bill number 3 of 2020 by Senator Farhia Haji and Senator Sakaja Johnson is also lined up for debate in this afternoon sitting. There will be a resumption of the debate on the Sectional Properties Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2019. And the Committee of the Whole will be considering the National Assembly Amendments Bill to the County Outdoor Advertising Bill. This is Senate Bill number 19 of 2018. The Committee of the Whole will equally be considering the following bill. The first is on the Street Vendors Protection of Livelihood Bill, Senate Bill number 10 of 2019. The Elections Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 18 of 2019. And the Kenyan Sign Language Bill, Senate Bill number 15 of 2019, courtesy of Senator Gertrude Musuruve and Senator Professor Margaret Kamar. Also lined up for debate in today's afternoon sitting is a bill by Senator Jonas Mwaruma on the Wildlife Conservation and Management Bill, Senate Bill number 24 of 2019. The County Resource Development Bill, Senate Bill number 2 of 2020 by Senator Rose Nyamunga is also lined up for debate in today's afternoon sitting. Pursuant to Standing Orders number 48, subsection 1, the Senator for Trans Nzoia County, Senator Michael Mbito, will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Health. This is in concerns of payments of allowances to the Office of the Administrative Personnel working in the health sector. This in county governments. Nominated Senator Beatrice Komboka will be making a statement or be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Education. This is regarding the status of graduates in various learning institutions. The Senator for Hombe County, Honorable Moses Kajwang, will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the alleged industrial strike by health workers in Bungoma County. This is in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the general state of health care facilities in the county. Nominated Senator Honorable Isaac Moura will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Health on operationalization of status of counselors and Psychologists Act of 2014. Senator for Lamu County, Senator Anwar Loitiptip, will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources in regards to the alleged displacement of squatters from Hidabo area in Lamu County. The Senator for Nandi County, Senator Samson Cherargei, will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security and Defense regarding the provision of new Kenya police uniform to police officers. Pursuant to Standing Orders number 51, subsection 1A, the Chairperson Committee on Roads and Transportation will be making a statement in regards to operationalization of the National Construction Authority defects liability regulations of 2020 as sought by Senator Sylvia Kasanga. Also, under the same standing order, the Chairperson Standing Committee on Health will be making a statement in regard to the death of a patient at MP Shah Hospital due to alleged negligence as sought by Senator Beth Mugo. Pursuant to Standing Orders number 51, subsection 1B, the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, will be making a statement relating to the activities of the committee. Also, under the same standing order, the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Energy will be making a statement relating to the activities of that particular committee. On your screens is the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Ken Lusaka. I'll now hand you over for the live broadcast. Enjoy your viewing. Good afternoon.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Senator Milgo.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, Thursday, 24th September 2020, the report of the Standing Committee on Education on a petition to the Senate by Dr. Eric Mugambi Kinywa concerning the review of the basic education curriculum framework by the Ministry of Education. Mr. Speaker, sir, the petition on the review of basic education curriculum framework was reported to the Senate on 27 March 2019. The petitioner, Dr. Eric Mugambi, sought to draw the attention of the Senate to basic education curriculum framework document prepared by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development and launched in January 2017 as a guide to 2633 to replace the 844 education system. Mr. Speaker, the petitioner sought intervention of the Senate to ensure that the Ministry of Education oversees and review to improve the design and quality of the new education curriculum. The petitioner further requested the Senate to direct the Ministry of Education to convene a national conference open to the public to receive and discuss, adopt, guide, and resolve 2633 basic education curriculum and direct the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development to review and edit the basic education curriculum document. Mr. Speaker, sir, the petitioner further requested the Senate to direct that sessional paper on reforming education and training for sustainable development be presented by the Ministry of Education to actualize the 2633 basic education curriculum to resolve the challenges addressed in the petition. And pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Order 2321 of the Senate Standing Orders, the petition was committed to the Standing Committee on Education. And Mr. Speaker, the committee observed that the development of basic education curriculum entailed a series of consolidated processes that began in 2014, and these incorporated engagement forums, trainings, seminars, validation workshops, and meetings to develop curriculum support materials and came up with a research based on curricula and curriculum support materials. These were followed up with the pilot program that took place through all counties. Mr. Speaker, the competency-based curriculum generally entails extensive and effective training of teachers. However, by the time CPC was being rolled out, majority of the teachers had not been trained. Further, there was inadequate infrastructure due to extremely high enrollment in pre-primary and primary schools, and therefore the already strained learning facilities. These serious challenges related to provisions of teaching and learning resources needed to successfully implement the CPC curriculum, and majority of schools facing delayed distribution and delivery of textbooks. Mr. Speaker, sir, based on these observations, the committee therefore recommended that there is need for continuous engagement amongst all education stakeholders, learners, teachers, parents, curriculum specialists, quality assurance officers, and experts to ensure that the views of the people concerned with the processes of teaching and learning are taken into account during the improvement of the basic education curriculum. The Ministry of Education should expeditiously set up and equip a research, monitoring, and evaluation department to carry out research and identify the problems of deficiencies in the basic education curriculum and provide up-to-date and reliable data to different stakeholders, including Parliament. That there is need for sufficient resource to allocation for continuous training and capacity building to teachers, quality assurance and standards officers, and curriculum support materials. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I conclude, I wish to take this opportunity to thank all the members of the committee for their immense contribution during the consideration of this petition that culminated in this report. The committee wishes to thank the officers of the Speaker and the Clerk of the Senate for the necessary support extended to it to conduct and execute its mandate. And the committee further wishes to record its appreciation for the services rendered by the staff of the Senate that enabled the production of this report. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is my pleasant duty on behalf of the Standing Committee on Education, Personal Understanding Order 232 to present a report of the Standing Committee on Education on the consideration of the petition on the review of the basic education curriculum framework. I thank you.
Yes, Senator Wetangula, I saw you.
Mr. Speaker, keenly, as the chair of the Committee for Education was giving her verdict on the petition. But Mr. Speaker, what comes out adds to the confusion that is education management in this country. The government of Kenya has never told Kenyans why they moved away from 844 to the new mongrel system that does not even match with the East African communities' systems. One would have thought, Mr. Speaker, that when we decided to move away from 844, which was functioning quite well, we could have aligned our education system with the East African region, where Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi, with whom we share a common heritage and many, many interests, including East African community, who are running a seven, is it 7, 4, 2, 3, the old system. Instead, we have moved to a system that is neither 844 nor compatible with East African region, isolating ourselves even further. Can the chairman clarify why there was a need to move away from the 844 system in the first place? Because nobody had complained. The parents of this country had accepted it, and it was working. Is it just because somebody in the Ministry of Education wanted to appear to be reforming something Or what was the problem? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Musurbe.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to actually commend the Chair, Education, for coming up with the report. But I also want to raise the same concerns that Senator Wetangula has mentioned, and they're valid concerns and they're very serious concerns, Honorable Speaker. I'm a product of the system Senator Wetangula has mentioned, and by the time a student was going to university after A-level, the student was mature enough to even cope up with university education and transit to the world of work. So I think as a committee of education, we need to interrogate this because, Honorable Speaker, there are so many issues to do with the CBC curriculum in terms of delivery, in terms of teacher competency, and it is taking in a lot of money, Honorable Speaker. And when you look at transition into the world of work, one is left to wonder what happens eventually. So there is need for us as a committee to also interrogate that system, because initially we had quality education with the 3, 2 and whatever, as compared to the CBC. So there is need for us as as a nation to really appreciate that when someone comes up with a proposal, let's begin a new curriculum. We should not just move with the wave, because we are also products of the previous curriculum, and we saw how it worked. For me, it really worked very well, and many other children who came from families of low socioeconomic backgrounds, Honorable Speaker. I beg to second the report, and I beg to support Senator Wetangula's proposition. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any more interest. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Senator Cheriot, before you continue greeting.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, Thursday, the 24th of September, 2020. Number 1, the Public Finance Management Parliamentary Car Loan Staff Scheme Fund, amendments to the regulations 2020, legal notice number 184. Number 2, Public Finance Management, that is a Parliamentary Mortgage for Members Scheme Fund, amendment of the regulations of 2020, legal notice number 185. 3, the Public Finance Management Parliamentary Car Loan for Members Scheme Fund, amendment of regulations 2020, legal notice number 186. And 4, the Public Finance Management Parliamentary Mortgage for Staff Scheme Fund, amendments to the regulations of 2020, legal notice number 187. So, Speaker, I beg to lay.
Chair Rhodes. Vice Sylvia, Senator Sylvia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, Thursday, 24th September 2020. The report of the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation on its inquiry into the operationalization of National Construction Authority Defects Liability Regulations 2020. Thank you.
Okay, Chairperson, Standing Committee on Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, Thursday, 24th of September, 2020. The report on the Standing Committee on Health on its inquiry into the death of a patient at MP Shah Hospital, allegedly due to negligence. Thank you.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Share roads. Senator Kasanga.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion today, Thursday, 24th September 2020, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation on its inquiry into the operationalization of National Construction Authority Defects Liability Regulations 2020, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 24th September 2020. Thank you.
Share health.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion today, Thursday, the 24th of September 2020, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Health on its inquiry into the death of a patient at MP Shah Hospital, allegedly due to negligence, on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 24th September 2020. Thank you.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Senator Transoya. Statement. Oh, I'm told Senator Petronilla, you're doing it on behalf. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding payment of allowances to office administrative personnel working in the health sector of county governments. In the statement, the committee should, 1, state whether there are plans to consider this cadre of staff for payment of health workers' extraneous allowance, health service allowance, and risk allowance, as they are subjected to similar circumstances that warrant payment of the same to all other healthcare workers. And secondly, the committee should outline the measures, if any, put in place to ensure that this cadre is not left out in any allowance that will apply to the other healthcare workers in the future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mbogo Chilayako.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Senator for Transoya and also thank our colleague Senator Were for raising this matter. Mr. Speaker, health workers are the most mistreated workers among the cadre of county workers. They have to strike or threaten to down their tools in order to be attended to. As the committee embarks on finding out what's going on, it would be important for the committee to find out what are the policies that counties have put in place for promotion of health personnel. What are the policies that have been put in place to ensure that community health workers are remunerated? If you look at the community health workers, the ones that attend to expectant mothers, you will find that they work for no pay, they work for no consideration. And this is a state of things that is not tolerable. Particularly in my county, Migori, all the community health volunteers, the ones that we call Nyamrerwa, have no assistance, have no consideration, have no recognition at all. So I want to request the committee, through the person who will be responsible for receiving responses, to tell us what policies do counties have in terms of remunerating community health workers, the ones who are volunteers, and particularly what policies there are in place to ensure that promotion is put into mechanism or mechanization to ensure that a health official or a health worker does not stagnate in one position. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Musurve.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for allowing me to support this statement by Senator Mbito. And indeed, it is a great concern that he has brought on the floor of this House, that we are talking about, a better payment for health workers. But Honorable Speaker, even in the facility, we have administrative health workers as well, the administrative personnel, the ones who actually usher patients in, the ones who even collect the funds, the ones who even advise the patients where to go and all that, the secretaries and all that. Honorable Speaker, we should never forget that these administrative personnel in the health facilities also need to be considered. So as governors, as we are urging governors in counties to consider remunerating health workers, better, let us also encourage them to also think about the administrative personnel, because they go to work from morning to evening every day and they're committed. And Honorable Speaker, these administrative personnel set the pace for the treatment that patients will get. And it helps in ensuring that the 4 big agenda of health is actually executed in the country. And the 4 big agenda of health is even enshrined in our Constitution, Article 43, which we must defend, Honorable Speaker. So I want to propose that the committee that is going to deal on this matter ensures that it is incorporating these administrative workers who are most of the time not talked about, and yet they contribute a lot in the health department. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I actually support this statement.
Okay, because we also have a heavy agenda on a committee paper that will be presented, I'll limit the riders, just like we did yesterday. Senator Beatrice Kwamboka, deferred. Senator Falhada Imna, deferred. Senator Homa Bay Moses Kajwang, deferred. Senator Isaac Mwaura, deferred. Senator Anwar Loitiptip,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment, and Natural Resources regarding displacement of squatters from Hidabu area in Lamu County. In the statement, the committee should explain the circumstances surrounding the ownership of the parcel of land in Idabo area, Lamu County, and state the genuine owners of the said parcel of land. Secondly, state who is behind the demarcation of the said piece of land and evicting persons who have occupied and settled in the said piece of land since 1998. Thirdly, state whether the Lamu County government authorized the alleged illegal demarcation of the piece of land. And lastly, explain measures the Ministry of Lands and the National Land Commission have put in place to protect persons who have enjoyed quiet possession of the said piece of land for a period exceeding 12 years, are not rendered squatters by rogue land grabbers, and are allowed to own the land through adverse possession. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Musurva's statement, not riding.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance to make this statement. on equal opportunities for persons with disabilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Article Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding equal opportunities for persons with disabilities. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide statistics of persons with disabilities, that is PWDs, and youth employed in the public service. 2, explain state of implementation of the constitutional provision that provides for progressive implementation of the principle that at least 5% of members of the public in elective and appointive bodies are persons with disabilities. 3, state mechanisms put in place, if any, to monitor implementation of Article 54(2) of the Constitution in order to ensure full implementation of the Constitution, of the constitutional provision. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Samson Cherargei, statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. A request for statement on the issue of new police uniforms in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Standing Order 48.1, I rise to seek statement from the Standing Committee on National Security and Foreign Relations on the issue of new police uniforms in Kenya. In the statement, the committee should, 1, state whether there is a Kenya police uniform policy guidelines in place. Secondly, explain whether a circular is in place indicating to the police that they can purchase the uniforms on their own and the recommended retailers. Third, state whether the National Police Service has provided uniform police allowance to the officers to enable them to purchase the uniforms on their own. Fourth, state whether the Ministry of Interior and National Security and the police service has set a specific timeline on the change of police uniforms. Fifth, Mr. Speaker, sir, provide a list of companies that were awarded the tender for the supply of new police uniforms in Kenya, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, I can say it is a very important matter, noting that when you go around the city, the ordinary retailers are now making police uniforms. And Mr. Speaker, it is becoming a dangerous security scar because somebody can walk to a retailer and get a police uniform and even wear. And Mr. Speaker, you remember even on the issue of military fatigue, it had already, Mr. Speaker, it had already been banned in the country. So nowadays you walk to your local retailer and you are told you can make police uniform. And therefore, you know, some elements in the society, Mr. Speaker, can take advantage.
You are discussing your statement.
I just wanted to make a rider on the issue so that...
You cannot make a ride on your own statement.
Okay, okay.
I'll only allow two, Senator Abdullahi and Cheriot.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The issue of police uniform is becoming a problem, Mr. Speaker. I'm hearing that in town now everybody can buy, and the police are told that you must purchase uniform very urgent, so they can go anywhere they want, get from anybody they want. And you know the way Kenyans are, the way they like going to people's houses in very odd hours, the way Senator, Senator of Nandi usually says, at the wee hours, as if they are when only weak wizards are awake. People who pretend to be police are moving around with uniform, and they want to harass other one inches. I think something should be done about this, and about police procurement should be that they should have specific contractors who are the only ones who should provide this uniform, Mr. Speaker. If you do it for everybody, I know it's good for Kenyans, but it will be very dangerous for this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cheriot.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important issue that Senator Cherargei is bringing to the attention of the House by way of statement. Mr. Speaker, the identification of a police officer is not only by uniform. And I would wish that Senator Cherargei had included in his statement, which I now want to request that it be added as a further issue to be discussed in that statement by the committee that will handle this matter, in how do you identify a police officer, yet it has become the culture and behavior of our police officers to not show their identification nowadays. Back in the day, Mr. Speaker, there are false numbers, and I know this, you know full well, having worked with them in your previous career, Mr. Speaker, that it was mandatory to display their false number, and nowadays, even as you rise in rank, prominently display your name and rank. That culture seems to be disappearing, yet it played a very important role, because we know things that have been done by people, one, pretending to be police officers, or two, police officers themselves, but just by virtue of the fact that they had police uniform, were able to get away with criminal activities or do things that are unconstitutional, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, it is important that when a response is brought to this House, we are told in this new phase and the new identification practices that are being introduced in the police service, what is the Inspector General doing to ensure that citizens can easily identify the police officers that are attending to them, either by way of arrest or providing police services to them, and even up to officers from the DCI unit, Mr. Speaker, who are known to walk in civilian clothes. We have seen in the recent cases where citizens are being arrested by people, and you're told, I am a DCI officer, and that is supposed to be sufficient explanation. They don't display their identification. This is an issue, Mr. Speaker, that I feel citizens of this country are concerned about, and when a response comes to this House, it needs to be properly explained. How do you identify, and what is the modus operandi of an arresting officer who is not dressed in police uniform? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I had said I was going to limit the riders, but let me allow Senator Wetangula, Olekina, and Msurve, because just those three.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the statement by the distinguished Senator for Nandi is very important. How we handle and reform our police force, Mr. Speaker, as a civil authority that protects wananchi is very critical. Recently, Mr. Speaker, a group of about 10, 15 people dressed in police uniform terrorized traders in Bungoma, from Bungoma town all the way to Chwele, carrying their TVs, taking everything, stocks in bars, and so on. When the report reached the police station, we were told these are not our officers, we do not have any such officers. Police uniform, Mr. Speaker, like army uniform, should not be easy to imitate. And it's dangerous if what Cherargei is saying is true, that police are being told to go to tailors and fit and make their own uniform. We have known, Mr. Speaker, police being given uniform that is made centrally with particular features that are difficult to imitate, so that they are easily identifiable, not identified for people to run away from them, but identified even for people with problems to go to them to be assisted. I want to urge the committee, Mr. Speaker, chaired by Yusuf Haji. I believe it is the committee that you are going to give this question to deal with, to advise the House and, of course, the police force at large, that even today, when you look at the police force, they're wearing two different sets of uniform. There are those in blue, there are those in old uniform. The moment you transitioned from old uniform to new uniform, one would have thought that the old uniform is outlawed altogether, so that we have a police force that when you see uniform, you can tell this is a Kenyan policeman or woman, and go to them for support. So how we handle the police, Mr. Speaker, as I finish, is very important for the confidence the public have and the confidence the police themselves have in themselves in giving us civil security. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, the housing of policemen is a matter that needs to be looked at. I heard an announcement that policemen are now given a few shillings and told to go and look for residences in suburbs of Nairobi, Rongai, wherever. This is very dangerous, Mr. Speaker. A person carrying a weapon, going to live in the midst of a place that they don't know, or even if they know, they can't guarantee their own security, doesn't augur well for a civil authority in this country.
Senator Musurve.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me an opportunity to support this statement. And indeed, Honorable Speaker, this statement is very important, and I have even written a motion to this effect. And I'm sure that when the motion comes on the floor of the House, we will actually give greater contribution on this. Because, Honorable Speaker, it is really unfair for police officers to be told that they have to buy their own uniforms. They had not prepared for it, and the police officer's job is really, really good in this country. They are charged with the security of human life, property, and so on. So there's need to ensure that we also give them some form of reinforcement. Honorable Speaker, just recently, police officers were actually told that they have to look for their own accommodation, and some of them are living in the slums of Nairobi and other parts of the country because the house allowance they get is too little. So for them to be told again to buy uniform, it is really, really not right, because uniform is a form of patriotism. When the police officers are in uniform, it identifies them as being, patriotic. It identifies them as being people we can trust in security and governance. So there's need actually for them to be given a uniform allowance, and not even be given. In the motion, I'm even recommending that the government should actually give them 3 pairs of uniform in a year, so that they are also neat, as they execute their duties. So I hope, Honorable Speaker, that when the motion comes to the floor of this House, the motion that I have proposed, once you clear it, I'm sure members will even give more information about what they think on this issue of police being made to buy uniform. I support, Honorable Speaker.
I'd say the last one was Senator Olekina, because I said I'm minimizing. I made that ruling so that we have many statements, and like I said, we have.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to support the statement by the distinguished senator from Nandi. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to believe that actually what is being said out there is not true. That the police service, men and women who protect our lives, are now being asked to go and buy their own uniform. Mr. Speaker, sir, I listened recently to the police spokesperson, Charles Owino, stating clearly that uniforms were available and directing the police to go and collect the uniform. I also heard recently, Mr. Speaker, sir, the regional commander, Mr. Rashid Jakub, warning the police, and there was some allegation that he had directed them to go and purchase uniforms. In fact, going to an extent of saying that there were certain tailors who are authorized to go and buy uniform. Mr. Speaker, sir, it now begs a big question. The police officers in this country, the condition that they live in, if you go into their houses, Mr. Speaker, sir, you will not even think it is a human being who lives there. So if we cannot even be able to provide them with uniform, we cannot give them housing, how do you really expect them to protect us? You ask yourself questions as to why certain people lose their mind, take the guns they are carrying, and they shoot the brains out of their heads. It's because of frustration. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, despite the information being shared, which some of it may not have the ultimate, the total truth, I think it is imperative that this committee, in fact, the Committee on Security, must take that issue as a security threat for the Republic of this country. No wonder, Mr. Speaker, sir, yesterday, the president decided even these police helicopters, let's take them to the military. Because if the military are now being given uniforms, The police might say, instead of me fixing this chopper, let me take this part and sell it so I can buy uniform. So these are very serious matters. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, if indeed it is true that the police service are being asked to buy their own uniform, I think this parliament must now, venture into uncharted territories and asking, there's a lot of money which is normally assigned to certain departments of the executive, which they cannot account for. I think we should now start coming up with legislation and saying the billions which is never accounted for, part of it, 10 or 20%, instead of being used for things which are not known, should actually be set aside to be able to improve the life of these policemen and women. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I hope that this statement will be taken seriously, so that at least when you are walking out there, we allow the police service to do its job. Even if they arrest us, it's okay. They are doing their job. But at least they are human beings and we must protect them because they are children and they are brothers and they are sisters. I support, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Okay, I said we are minimizing riders, so we go to the next statement. You'll comment. We are trying to clear the backlog of statements. Senator Anwar Loitiptip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the alleged encroachment of Lake Kenyatta riparian land in Mpeketoni, Lamu County. In the statement, the committee should state whether Lamu County allowed due process in licensing of Lake Kenyatta Beach Management Unit, which has been given the responsibility of managing areas of the beach reserved for hippopotamus to graze, as well as recreational areas for fishermen and the public. 2, explain whether Lamu County government authorized demarcation of the said area and subsequently allocated the beach area to Lake Kenyatta Beach Management Unit. State whether the title deeds of the land in question, which are in hands of Lake Kenyatta Beach Management Unit, are genuine, and if so, did the National Land Commission conduct due diligence before issuance of the same? Lastly, explain what measures the Ministry of Lands is putting in place to ensure that areas around water bodies used as grazing area for wildlife are protected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mazayo.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, kama katika Kenya nzima kuna eneo ambalo limeonewa tokea uhuru upatikane, na mpaka leo hata tunavyoongea saa hizi haki ya watu wa pwani na hususan haki za watu wa Lamu zimezoroteshwa zaidi. Bwana Spika, mimi nataka kumuunga mkono ndugu yangu mdogo Anwar, seneta maarufu wa Lamu, kwa swala hili. Sisi tunajua watu wanaoishi ndani ya Lamu ni Waamu wenyewe, Wabajuni. Lakini hivi sasa ukienda Lamu utakuta watu wengi ambao wana mashamba ya watu wa Lamu, si Waamu wenyewe bali ni watu wengine. Wana stakabadhi bandia, wana stakabadhi ambazo walikuja hapa katika wizara ya ardhi, na hatimaye wakaweza kutoa stakabadhi za bandia. Ni jambo la kusikitisha Bwana Spika, na nataka ndugu yangu Githiomi, ambaye yeye najua ni mkakamavu zaidi na ni mwenyekiti wa mambo ya ardhi, kuzingatia zaidi hususan hii beach management iliweza kukabidhiwaje. Hiyo beach management ya kwamba ni mahali sote tunajua upeo wa baharini
ni upeo wa burudani. Lakini hivi sasa utaona upeo ambao uko pale katika lile ziwa la Lake Kenyatta umetolewa stakabadhi na umepewa watu ambao hawajulikani, na wala hata kama hawa watu ambao wanajulikana ambao sisi pia tunawajua ni kina nani. Na nitataka siku hiyo kama akija na ripoti yake, mimi nitatoboa, nitasema ni kina nani ambao wamepewa hiyo ardhi ya Lamu ambayo katika beach management. Bado hususan wakati huo haujafika, lakini ikifika, Bwana Spika, mimi nitasema kwa sababu gani watu wa Lamu mpaka leo wanaonyeshwa unyonge na ardhi yenyewe ni yao. Ukiangalia zaidi, Bwana Spika,
point of order, Senator Kinyua.
Wewe Bwana Kinyua, kaa chini.
Bwana Spika,
nimempa
Bwana Spika, mimi ningefurahia kwa sababu watu wa Lamu wanaendelea kusononeka kwa shida, ilhali senator wa kutoka Kilifi anajua vizuri watu wale ambao wamenyakua ardhi yao. Mimi naona ni vizuri angelisema wakati huu badala ya kungoja, ilhali wale ndugu zetu wanaendelea kusononeka kwa hali ya umaskini na kudhulumiwa na wale ambao wamechukua ardhi yao. Kama angelisema, angelisaidia zaidi, na senator wa Lamu angelifurahi hata zaidi na wale watu ambao wanaodhulumiwa na hawa mabepari.
Lakini senator, mimi naona wewe unalia kuliko mwenye amefiwa, kwa sababu senator wa Lamu mwenyewe yuko hapa. What's your point of order, Senator Lekina?
Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo lile ambalo mwenzangu seneta kutoka Laikipia amezungumzia si jambo ambalo tungezungumzia hapa. Mimi naona kwa sababu wewe kwa ile jukumu lako kama Bwana Spika mwenyewe,
let's consult in low tones,
utaweza kuikabili ama kuikabidhi mayala na Kiswahili hiyo statement katika committee ya lands. Hapo ndipo inafaa mwenzetu kwenda kuweza kupeana hiyo majina, kwa sababu hapa sasa itakuwa ile wazungu wanasema premature. Asante Bwana Spika.
Okay, conclude Senator Mazayo, we move on.
Shukran Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, ni kama nilivyotangulia awali, swala hili linaweza kutatuliwa vizuri kama ile ripoti ya ukweli, haki na uridhiano itatolewa na itawekwa wazi kwa Wakenya wote, ile TJRC report. Manake tunasikia vuguvugu tu, lakini ile ikitolewa wazi, mimi nina hakika iko na majina, iko na maeneo ambayo yamechukuliwa kupitia njia ya dhulma. Na mimi nikiongea namna hii, ninaongea nikijua historia ya Kenya kwamba mashamba hususan zaidi ya pwani yamechukuliwa kwa njia ya dhulma. Ndio sababu tunasema ya kwamba ripoti kama hii, taarifa kama hii aliyosema Anwar, seneta wa Lamu, ni muhimu zaidi kuona ya kwamba maardhi ambayo yamechukuliwa kwa njia ambayo ni kinyume na sheria na kuonewa na kupokonywa, mpaka leo watu wanaenda kufukuzwa katika mashamba yao, wanawekewa mafence, wanaambiwa hii shamba imepeanwa kwa nani sasa? Na sisi tumeishi hapa zaidi ya miaka 50, miaka 70, leo tunaambiwa tuondoke. Tuende wapi na ardhi ni yetu? Kwa hiyo swala hili tunasema ya kwamba ile kamati ya ukweli, uhaki na maridhiano ambayo iliandikwa zamani, ambayo mpaka hivi sasa serikali bado haijaweka wazi, tunasema ya kwamba hiyo kamati hiyo na ile ripoti yake iwekwe pariwanja, ili kila mtu aisome ajue ni kitu gani kiko ndani na ni kwa sababu gani serikali haitaki kuifichua. Asante sana mwana.
Next statement, Senator Gertrude Musuruve.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to make a statement on accessibility of the Nairobi Animal Orphanage by persons with disabilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industrialization regarding compliance of the Kenya Wildlife Services, KWS, with the requirements to ensure accessibility of the Nairobi Animal Orphanage by persons with disabilities. In the statement, the committee should, 1, state measures taken, if any, to ensure that persons with disabilities, PWDs, specifically the physically challenged, the visually impaired, and the deaf and hard of hearing can access services at the Nairobi Animal Orphanage. 2, outline the provisions put in place to ensure that wheelchair users, crutch users, and the visually impaired can access the washrooms while visiting the animal orphanage. And 3, explain strategies put in place to ensure that PWDs are catered for on a near equal basis to others in enjoying the facilities offered by the KWS. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Chebeni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate Senator Musuruve for coming up with this statement. I think as a country it is time for us to start thinking about accessible tourism. Mr. Speaker, persons with disabilities face great challenges whenever they want to enjoy tourism destinations in this country, Mr. Speaker. And every person in this country, Mr. Speaker, has a right to enjoy visiting and experiencing all the tourist destinations that we have in Kenya, Mr. Speaker. And especially now that we are talking about domestic tourism, Mr. Speaker, I think even persons with disabilities want to go to places, want to visit new places, and they want to identify places they can enjoy and relax in this country. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I support this statement, and I support the fact that there's need to put strategies to ensure that persons with disabilities get to enjoy the domestic tourism in this country. I support.
Senator Ali Abdullahi, what's your intervention?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I just wanted to state that while I support the statement from my vice chair, I think that statement should go to wildlife, and that comes under land and natural resources. Yeah, because it's KWS, and KWS does not fall under this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, you are right. We go to the next statement by Senator Moses Wetangula.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've got two statements following each other. One, Roman 11 and 12. I want to drop the one on Roman 11 because it was covered in the statement that I sought yesterday, and allow me to now seek the one in Roman 12. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries concerning the state and operations of Nzoia Sugar Company. Mr. Speaker, in the statement, the committee should, 1, explain the reasons for the dissolution of the Board of Directors of Nzoia Sugar Company on 3rd August 2020. 2, explain the reasons for the delay in the constitution of the board and when a new one will be constituted. And 3, explain measures put in place, if any, to ensure smooth operations of the company, especially on matters regarding approval of management decisions, policy directions, and responsibility in oversight in the absence of the Board of Directors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Senator Bungoma. We go to statements under Standing Order 51-1A. The first one is the Chairperson Standing Committee on Roads Transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 51-1 to issue a statement regarding the consideration of a statement on operationalization of the National Construction Authority Defects and Liability Regulations 2020. Mr. Speaker, on June 2020, Senator Sylvia Kasanga, Member of Parliament and Senator here, and who is also the Vice Chairperson of this committee, requested for a statement from my committee regarding the operationalization of the National Construction Authority Defect Regulations 2020, Mr. Speaker. And in that statement, she sought specifically an explanation as to why public participation and adequate stakeholder engagement was not conducted during the development and prior to gazettement of those regulations. Two, Mr. Speaker, she sought that the committee provide adequate information on the ambiguous and contradictory interpretations and potentially invalidate most construction contracts in Kenya. And three, to elaborate on the measures put in place to ensure the construction environment as well as ongoing projects at national and county levels will not stall unnecessarily due to these regulations. And lastly, she sought that the committee provide detailed plans and projects of which the ministry intend to address by these regulations, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the committee did hold several sittings, Mr. Speaker, to consider this matter, invited stakeholders who included the relevant Ministry of Transport. Mr. Speaker, we also invited other stakeholders who included the Joint Building and Construction Council, Architectural Association of Kenya, Kenya Private Sector Alliance, Institute of Engineers of Kenya, Institute of Construction and Project Management of Kenya, and Kenya Property Developers Association, and the Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Mr. Speaker. During those deliberations, Mr. Speaker, the committee was informed that these regulations were in operation, and two, that public participation on the regulations had not been undertaken, Mr. Speaker. And the committee consequently sought the evidence from the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure, Mr. Speaker. After scrutiny, the committee received evidence and information provided by the National Construction Authority and made the following observations, Mr. Speaker. That one, that the National Construction Authority regulations were published in the Kenya Gazette of the 20th of April 2020, pursuant to Section 42 of the National Construction Authority Act. And two, that the National Defect and Liability Regulations 2020 were in operation despite provisions of Section 42(3) of the National Construction Authority Act, Mr. Speaker. The committee also observed that those regulations were not transmitted to Parliament for consideration, contrary to Section 11(1) of the Statutory Instruments Act number 23 of 2013, which obligates that every cabinet secretary responsible for regulation-making authority will transmit a copy of the statutory instrument to the responsible clerk within 7 days after publication. The 7 sitting days, Mr. Speaker, lapsed on the 26th of May 2020 for the Senate and on 11th of June for the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, we also observed that the same regulations on the statutory instruments require that each statutory instrument be considered on its own and be combined with any other, and not be combined.
This is the second time we in Kiambu are hosting the Ministry of Health delegation to announce the results of the COVID-19 infection. We want to thank you most sincerely. We first hosted the CS, and we want to thank you for choosing to come to Kiambu, and particularly at this time when you have started the community interaction. We have just enjoyed a community interaction session where the community would want to ask a few questions. I think this again is a first on the Ministry of Health in order to open up to the community. So we would want to really congratulate you. I personally would want to thank you for the support that you have continued to accord Kiambu County and the counties at large. We have benefited largely from the advice, and I want to request that you pass our best regard to the CS and to the PS and the entire health ministry. We admire the way you have worked as a team and the way your effort has managed to contain the COVID-19 infection in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, is concerned, we have continued to witness a decrease in the number of cases, positive cases here in Kiambu. As at yesterday, we had accumulated total of 2,717 positive cases. And sadly to say, we have lost a total of 106 people. However, the average cases on daily basis have been on a steady decline, and we thank God for this. I can confirm to you that in the facility that we are in, we don't have a single COVID-19 patient. We only have about, thank you very much, we only have about 11 patients in our Kiambu COVID Center in Tigoni. This decline has been as a result of several factors, particularly because of the containment measures which we put in place. First and foremost, we had an aggressive campaign to stop the spread of the virus by observing the health guidelines put in place, including wearing of masks, washing of hands, and keeping physical distance. We also have enhanced our testing capacity, and I want to thank the ministry for introducing us to International Livestock Research Institute, for whom we now have a memorandum of understanding. And we are now sending an average of 100 samples every day to Erie in Udhiru, and we are getting our results within 24 hours. We want to thank the ministry for introducing us and for making us sign that MOU with Erie. We have also actually discussed with Erie on other issues outside COVID-19 testing, including collaboration on animal health and animal production. We will therefore continue to test. We are not assuming. We will continue to test an average of 100 samples every day, as we have done. In terms of our isolation centers, as we said, we have an excess of 600 beds ready in our facilities. In the next 1 month, by the end of next month, by end of October, we'll be having an additional 250 beds, 150 in Ruiru. A facility will be handed over to us by the 30th of October, and the facility in Tigoni of 100 beds, which has been put with the help of the private sector and the COVID Center Advisory Council, will be ready for handing over to us on the 23rd of October, bringing our bed capacity to 850. And in addition, we are working on Karato and Getithia, where we are looking, where we are adding another 100 beds. So we'll be very close to 1,000 beds within the next 1 month or so. In addition, 99% of our health facilities have effected the cashless system. This is something that we did, and I want to announce that we have been very, very successful. We are no longer taking cash in our facilities, and that has also reduced, of course, the contamination and the infection rate. And we are extending this to our other business, including all our other avenues where we are collecting revenue. As far as other public health measures are concerned, we've had a very, very fruitful discussion with the business community. I want to thank the business community of Thika. I want to thank the business community of Kiambu, and more particularly the bar owners. We've already established a working protocol with the bar owners, and we are helping them with our public health to work out the containment measures that will come in when the president may announce, whenever he will announce that the bars may open. We are already working out a protocol with them, and I want to thank them most sincerely for that. Similarly, we are working with churches. We established the Interfaith Council, which is now at the sub-county level, and we are working with them to make sure that we support the churches, and those who cannot afford sanitizers and masks, we are working to support them. We also continue to monitor the public places, including markets, fumigation, and so on. And finally, let me talk about what we've been discussing, our health strategy. we are now putting into practice what we have learned. And what we have agreed with the Kiambu COVID-19 Advisory Council and our health team is that we will be converting a lot of learning into our health strategy. The health strategy will be looking at an enhancement of UHC. We have already seen that we can be able to put the NCDs, the non-communicable diseases, further away from main hospitals, so that those people do not have to travel more than 2 or 3 kilometers to access their non-communicable disease medication. Now, this is a step towards universal health coverage. As we talk about NHIF and working with our informal sector, working with Boda so that we can pay for them the first 500 shillings, and then they can continue to pay, working with the women in the markets, working with the hawkers to ensure that they register for the National Hospital Insurance Fund, is one way of ensuring that UHC is realized. So I want to thank all our healthcare workers. They have worked tirelessly. They have worked with a lot of dedication, and I really want to thank you most sincerely. And finally, it's my appeal, my plea to the National Assembly. I know today they were discussing the county resource allocation formula. We are pleading that that can move to Senate, and then it will get the presidential assent so that we can be able to access funds next week, because our people, particularly the healthcare workers who have dedicated their effort so much, have gone without salary for 2 months. So once again, thank you very much, the ministry team, Madam CS, and welcome again to Kiambu. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, His Excellency Governor Nyoro, for really welcoming us here today, and good afternoon and welcome all to our daily COVID-19 update. Today we are especially delighted to be here at Thika Level 5 Hospital, and from the outside really appreciate the work that the county government of Kiambu has been able to do when it comes to the COVID-19 response. And leading this response has been His Excellency, the Governor, James Noro, as well as the county department officials who are here with us today. And we really accord appreciation from the team in the Ministry of Health and from Waziri. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. As of yesterday, fellow Kenyans, Nairobi continues to lead with a number of confirmed positive cases at 20,380. Followed by Mombasa with cases at 2,819, and Kiambu County third, having 2,673 cases out of the whole 47 counties. We appreciate the effort that has been underway here in Kiambu County, noting especially its proximity to Nairobi, which has been an epicenter of COVID-19. And really we can see from the numbers that the governor has shared that the condition is actually in control here in Kiambu County. We have noted, however, generally as a country over the last couple of weeks that many people have started to ignore the laid down protocols for dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. And it is for this reason we are here today, having deemed it necessary as a ministry to engage with communities through their leaders to deliberate on the adherence of protocols. And so today really marks a change in approach when it comes to the COVID-19 response, where we are rolling out what is known as behavior change communication. We've just concluded a 2-hour session with the community. We met with the leaders of the Boda Association. We've met with the Matatu Association. We've met with the community health workers. We've also met with the youth. And we've deliberated on what it means in terms of adherence of the COVID-19 protocols. They have shared the challenges that they have. They have asked us questions regarding COVID-19, flattening the curve. And really this is the approach that we want to roll forward as we continue in this new normal of living with COVID-19. We are aware that many of us have been rendered jobless, businesses have been closed down, and even more painful is that our children have had their learning paralyzed due to the different measures that we've put in place. However, it is to remind each and every one of us that some of these measures were actually necessary and quite important. One, in enabling us to be here together today as a community in Kiambu, knowing that we have been able to actually start mitigating against COVID-19 and we have started flattening the curve. It is important to remember, even as we get into this new normal, 8 months in, the 3 measures continue going forward. And I'm happy today the governor was able to remind us of how to wash our hands, the 10 steps of washing your hands with soap and water, wearing of masks at all times in public places, which remains crucial, and then finding ways of which you can maintain social and physical distancing, even as we resume work and we resume the new normal in our country. And so we continue to remind you, really, and the DJ has done an excellent job today sharing with you the management of COVID, what it looks like when it comes to the vaccines. And so we remind you that there is no cure for this disease. And yes, studies are being carried out the world over to be able to determine if we can find a cure, and also to be able to find a vaccine that can offer us, a new way of living while controlling this pandemic. But the important message becomes that really, this condition is still here with us. While gains have been made, we have to ensure that we avoid going back, we avoid getting a second wave. And so it's for this reason today we really appreciate the engagement of all the community leaders present here today, noting really the contributions of the business community, noting the contributions of our community health volunteers and workers, who really, we have to celebrate Kiambu, 1, for recognizing them as a part of your workforce, and 2, for facilitating them with the different kits that they require. Because really, as a Ministry of Health, we do believe that community health workers do form the base platform of achieving the UHC dream. And so, with regards to the continued measures, the National Emergency Response Committee continues to meet, continues to deliberate on what the new normal will be. And really an important milestone is this coming Monday. His Excellency, the President Uhuru Kenyatta, shall chair the COVID-19 conference that will serve as a platform of reflection of the past 8 months as a country, the lessons that we've learned, the needed investments in the health sector, and how to then settle into a new normal as a country. With regards to our COVID-19 situation, in terms of our statistics today, 141 people have tested positive from a sample size of 3,307 tested in the last 24 hours. This therefore brings the total number of COVID cases in the country to 37,489 cases. Out of all these cases, all are Kenyan except 7 who are foreigners. And in terms of disaggregation by gender, we have 103 males and 38 females. And in terms of age, the youngest is a 4-year-old child, while the oldest is 74. When we look at the disaggregation by county, we have today Trans Nzoia leading for the first time with 28 cases, Nakuru with 24, Nairobi with 14, Mombasa with 14, Kiambu with 9, Migori 8, Kisumu and Kajiado both have 6 cases, Uasin Gishu, Narok, Kitui, Turkana have 5 cases, Bungoma have 2, Homa Bay, West Pokot, Machakos all have 2 cases, whereas Moranga, Nandi, Vihiga, Meru and Busia have 1 case. We continue to provide you with the disaggregation by county, and particularly because today we're in Kiambu County, I'll focus on that. Of the 9 cases in Kiambu, we have 5 from Thika, Kiamba, and Kiambu Town having 2 cases each. When we look at our recoveries, on a positive note, 81 people have recovered from the disease, 69 have been discharged from various hospitals, whereas 12 have been discharged from the home-based care program. And so as a country, our total recoveries stand at 24,334, approximately having about 65% recoveries. And we really thank our healthcare workers for their continued dedication to duty. I do thank the community today that has especially appreciated the role that healthcare workers have played. And I wouldn't have said it any better than perhaps the MD from Broadway, who notes that we've long ignored our healthcare workers, we've long neglected them, but really COVID-19, the silver lining has been the appreciation of what it means to be a doctor, to be a nurse, to be a lab technician, and so we continue to thank you all for your dedication to duty. However, on a sad note, today 5 patients succumbed to the disease, bringing the total fatality to 669, and we pass our sincere condolences to the families and friends of those who've lost their loved ones. I I think at this point we do welcome a Q&A session.
I'm not in the media. My name is...
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. My question is very simple. Recently, I had the opportunity to check all the patients in my ward to do a test for COVID. If we can do that within 24 hours, is there a possibility that we could have the opportunity to do that to all our healthcare workers?
Thank you for your question. Is there any other question? Well, that sounds like a DG question, but I'll give it a stab. Governor Nyoro, we're always happy when we have the DG here because he takes that for us. What you raise is really important and fundamental, and it is the issue of our testing strategy. And it is, a question that is trying to find out if we went and tested everyone in the ward, if I'm correct in terms of your question, what would be the value of doing that? I think one of the key things that we've learned, and really one of the big reflections we'll be sharing on Monday during the conference, is that testing has come about with various challenges. Challenges due to supply chain disruptions, challenges due to, elements of monopoly when it comes to who is making these kits across the world, challenges when it comes to even being able to adequately deploy all our lab technicians to be able to serve COVID-19, do the testing and get it back to us on time, but also to be able to deal with all these other disease conditions. And so what happened in the beginning of COVID, and this is really an important story, when COVID began, as a country, as a sector in the Ministry of Health, we purposed to ensure that our testing capacity was able to test each and every case. If you remember, we started with a test, isolate, treat, and trace approach for COVID-19. And soon, in the response, we noticed that there were challenges. There were challenges when it came to not only having the kits, but even having the swabs, the components that you need to be able to do a proper test. And so, interestingly, this was the same situation the world over. And there have been conversations at WHO, conversations at Africa CDC, really what does it mean to be able to have a testing strategy that works for the country, a testing strategy that is able to meet the objective of ensuring that the system is continuing on as we contain the pandemic. And so as it stands, and DG will really pick up from here, is that it has been proven to be irrational deployment of resources to test everyone, particularly because we've said, and today DG reminds us, 93% of us are asymptomatic. What it means is that in this crowd that we have here in front of us, 93% of us could be here having COVID-19, but we are asymptomatic. So every time you have a limited number of resources, you have to deploy those resources in a rational manner. And that is one of the reasons why we will not be testing everyone in our ward. The second one is of how COVID is as a disease. I could test you today, you're negative, but then you go in and you meet someone and you turn positive. So then it defeats the purpose of that. However, we have a new testing strategy, and that is what the DG will share with you. Who are we prioritizing when it comes to testing? How will testing look like 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now? And what are the new tests that are now in the field? We now have antigen tests and antibody tests that are much cheaper, that will perhaps change how our testing strategy has been. So maybe DG, you can take it over from here.
Thank you, Madam. Yes, now that the media didn't have questions, we'll probably go beyond the question that was asked by Dr. Probably I would start by where we were, based on what our projections were. Remember when we reported the first case of COVID-19 on 13th of March, we had a scientist in the Ministry of Health working together with other scientists from our universities, the research institutions, giving you a highlight of what we think the situation would be. And if you look at the pattern of evolution of the pandemic, it has gone exactly according to script as predicted by your scientists. So number one, trust your scientists, trust your doctors, trust your lab people, trust your nurses, that all we do, we mean well for this country, and we'll always stand with science and stand for the truth. Because of that, we advise His Excellency the President on the measures to undertake, and those measures, initially based on our projection, we predicted in the worst case scenario that we are going to lose 5,000 people by the end of this year. Madam CS has just highlighted the numbers for today. We are still below 700. So as a result of those containment measures and the other interventions we have put in place, we have saved more than 4,400 lives. That works to about 86% of mortalities averted. Number two, in terms of our testing strategy, initially we had what we call mass testing, where we just walk around and anybody who comes for testing would be able to swab their nose and their throat. But based on emerging evidence, that was not making business sense. More so what Madam CS has stated was the global supply chain constraints in terms of the testing kits. So we were not the only country, including the great countries of this world, including the Americas, had to go back to the drawing board to be able to do a new testing strategy. And that is what we are now implementing, and therefore we are trying to focus on those who are symptomatic. That is why we are doing the clinical surveillance in all our facilities. Those who present with severe acute respiratory illnesses are the people that we prioritize. We prioritize the healthcare workers because by the nature of their work, they stand a high risk of getting COVID-19 infection. We prioritize people who are in places like in prisons because you cannot be able to maintain physical and social distance in such a setting. And also, if you look at the infection or water sanitation and hygiene measures in prisons, it's very, very difficult to maintain a high standard of hygiene. So going forward, we are looking at the people who are symptomatic, plus their contacts, the healthcare workers, people in the transport sector because they interact with very many people, people in the prisons, and we have a guideline to be able to assist us that way. That way we make prudent resource of this use of this scarce resource, and therefore we get the desired results. So we are implementing a new testing strategy, and we have also looked at very many other parameters, including what we recently launched, our burial protocols, based on emerging evidence, which is now also locally generated. Remember, in the initial phase of the disease, we used to rely on data from outside. But now, even if you talk to our doctors here, they'll be able to tell you that there are certain measures that they can be able to deploy in management of COVID-19 cases with very, very good results. So this has also enabled us now to develop homegrown solutions in management of COVID-19 disease. I would want to once again repeat on the flattening of the curve that we are making good progress. We are past the inflection point of the curve, so we are now on a downward trajectory, but we don't need to drop the ball. We need to continue holding hands together, maintain public social health measures, infection prevention control measures, so that we can comfortably say that we have flattened the curve. Today our positivity rate was about 4.3%, and if you look at the past 3 weeks, we have maintained a rate of less than 5%. And going forward, we believe it will come to even a lower figure. And we have fewer and fewer cases in the facilities. Like Excellency Governor has said, these beautiful facilities, there's nobody with COVID-19. We have lower and lower mortalities. Our case fatality rate still stands at about 1.7, 1.8%, compared to a global average of about 3.1%. Of course, we have had infections in healthcare workers, more than about 954, and out of these, 495 are males. They constitute 2.6% of the total caseload of COVID-19, and we have lost 16 healthcare workers. That works about 1.7% case fatality ratio, again, which compares very favorably with a global case fatality ratio for the general population. A lot of work is going on vaccine development, as we said when we were doing the BCC, and we are part of this vaccine development through our premier research institution, KEMRI, working with our team in Kilifi, KEMRI Wellcome Trust, and particularly with the Oxford vaccine, which is now in phase 3 trial. Phase 3 means you are administering the vaccine to a larger population and we are trying to look basically at the efficacy, whether the vaccine is eliciting the proper response that you anticipate, and also, of course, looking at the safety. It is important that we are part of this journey because, one, we have local data for our own information. Number two, when this vaccine comes out and it works well, we will be at the front line in receiving the vaccine. And of course, number three, why it is important to do that is to ensure that sometimes we develop medicines, they may work in a particular setup and not in a particular setup. So when we develop this and we are part of that development, if it works for our people, we surely know that it's going to work for our entire population. And together with that, there's also what we call the COVID vaccine facility, which is a global alliance of countries coming together for the first time. Even the first world countries are joining hands with the low middle income countries and also the lower middle income countries to be able to put resources together to develop a vaccine. I told you it takes about 7 to 20 years ordinarily to be able to develop a vaccine. We want to do this in less than 1 year. How best can we do it? By joining hands, pooling our resources together, spreading the risk. And with that, there's something that we call at-risk manufacture, such that this resource that we get, we can be able to distribute to various manufacturers. If it does not work, the global community loses very little money, rather than go it alone. So the charm in us as Kenyans is also working out in the development of the vaccine. And finally, our doctors, our nurses, our clinical officers, the entire 17 cadres of our healthcare workers are working very, very hard, using locally generated information to be able to provide better management of COVID-19 cases. And we believe the platform that we have set aside for COVID-19 will be a big stepping stone for us in our journey towards universal health coverage. Asanteni.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Members, my guidance relates to part of the amendments proposed by the member for Makueni, the Honorable Daniel Manzo. And to begin with, the proposed amendments by the Honorable Manzo were in two parts, being A and B. And having considered the proposals and found the first part of the proposed amendments as being admissible, I approved its inclusion in the supplementary order paper for this sitting. However, I found the second part, shown as B, of the proposed amendments as being inadmissible and therefore declined to that part of for consideration by the House. For the information of the House, the same second part of the proposed amendments read as follows, quote, that the House recommends that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission should investigate the circumstances leading to the special audit on the procurement of pre-export verification of conformity standard services for used motor vehicles, mobile equipment, and used spare parts by the Kenya Bureau of Standards, and more specifically, whether QISJ invited and facilitated visa processing, travel and accommodation for Mr. Frederick Odhiambo, Office of the Auditor General, from the Office of the Auditor General, Ms. Catherine Mwasho from Kenya Bureau of Standards, Mr. Brian Thuku from Kenya Bureau of Standards, and Dr. John Ngeno from Kenya Bureau of Standards to answer the audit and to report findings to the Director of Public Prosecutions and the National Assembly within 90 days for appropriate action. Honourable members, the named officers are staff, some of the named officers are staff of the Office of the Auditor General, and others are from the Kenya Bureau of Standards, who led in carrying out the special audit. I found the proposed recommendations inadmissible for the following reasons. One, The matter contained in the proposed amendment was conclusively canvassed by the committee, as evidenced in the report of the committee on pages 59 and 60. And 2, the power of the Auditor General to undertake audits, including special audits of public entities, is provided for under Article 229 of the Constitution and Section 7 and 49 of the Public Audit Act 2015. The Auditor General's audit work at that time was with regard to the Kenya Bureau of Standards. It would therefore be unlawful and very unusual for Parliament to seem to want to punish or cause investigations of the Auditor General for exercising his powers under the law. For these reasons, this part of the proposed amendments has not been included in the supplementary order paper and will therefore not be considered by the House. The House is at liberty, however, in debating the report to make its findings as it chooses, either agree with the committee or disagree with the committee, in which case vote against that particular recommendation. And the House is accordingly guided. I thank you now, members. Next order.
Order number 8, special motion, approval of the third basis for sharing of national revenue allocated to counties.
Who was on there? Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, you have a balance of 4 minutes. Member, Honorable Kioni, member for Daragwa. Not in any other member is at liberty to contribute. Let me just check. Who? No, I'm not. I'm just saying I want to see how many other members, so that I don't give you to speak when you have already contributed. So I can therefore follow what is on the first on the request list is the Honorable Manso.
He had spoken.
How is it that your name is not showing?
Mr. Speaker, I had spoken on that particular one.
Is it? Oh, sorry, you are number 10 actually. The next one is Honorable Atandi on the request. Have you also spoken? Very well.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this motion on approval for third basis for sharing of national revenue allocated to counties. Honorable Speaker, I just want to make a few remarks. Honorable Speaker, I do not understand why CRA has decided to just identify just a few parameters to be used to determine the revenues that's being allocated to the counties. Yet, there are many functions that have been devolved. I'm saying this, Honorable Speaker, because if you go to counties, you find that counties are restricting their functions to just a few areas. Like, you find that most counties are preoccupied with doing earth roads, others are doing ECD, and they have largely ignored other important sectors such as agriculture, for instance, in my county. They have ignored areas like fishing, which is very, very crucial. And therefore, I would like to urge that in future formulas, the following parameters need to be given primacy. One is forestry. Honorable Speaker, forest cover is a very important matter in the world right now because of what is known as climate change. And you find that few countries are focusing on planting of trees and etc. And therefore, I also feel, Honorable Speaker, that forestry should really be a very important parameter for future allocation of resources, so that we have counties that do not even have trees. They need to be given an opportunity. Those ones that do not have trees, they should be given more resources, and that forestation should be used as a parameter for allocating those resources. Then, Honorable Speaker, I disagree with this. I disagree with one of the parameters which has been used to allocate resources here, and which is land mass. According to me, Honorable Speaker, landmass and population, there's no difference between landmass and population. Because if you go to these counties that are expansive, you will realize, Honorable Speaker, that the large populations are found within the towns. They are not found within the deserted landmass areas. And therefore, if we are going to consider population as a parameter for allocation of resources, then we need to do away with this landmass. Because I have not seen any county or county government that is having plans in place to access those large landmass where nothing is going on. A good example, Honorable Speaker, is Marsabit County. As an example, is one of the most expansive counties. But if you walk in Marsabit County, you probably find that people just reside in small towns, and the larger areas are empty. So my question is, why do we allocate resources to empty, expansive land where no one is residing? I know this is a very important issue for the debate for my colleagues who come from the northeastern region. But I think that if we are going to use population as a parameter, then I don't think it's important for us to use this landmass, because we are actually allocating resources to empty lands. And what are those resources rewarding us for? Lastly, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that there are parameters such as blue economy. Honorable Speaker, when you go to a region like Nyanza and you go to the fishing areas, you find that those people people engaged in fishing, they have so many challenges. And when you talk to the county governments, they will tell you that they do not have resources to address some of those challenges that those people are experiencing. And therefore, I feel like the Senate or the CRA needs to go deeper and identify more other parameters that are instrumental in sharing these resources, so that we have a situation where economic activities such as fishing, which is substantially contributing to agriculture, form a basis for revenue sharing. Because then we will be able to SEA would be able, for instance, to get more resources based on fishing, which I don't think is obtaining in this formula. Otherwise, thank you and I support.
Member for Molo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on this motion and this report, Mr. Speaker. From the onset, the discussion about the issue of this revenue sharing formula that has brought a stalemate at the Senate, that has brought to a standstill the operations of this country, shows us, Mr. Speaker, that we need to revisit some of the roles that the Senate plays and some of the roles that are played by the National Assembly. For very many months, Mr. Speaker, we had innocent Kenyans, hardworking people who are employed by county governments going without salaries, because some people decided to play politics on a matter as grave as this that was affecting the very nature of our 2010 Constitution, which is devolution, Mr. Speaker. And moving forward, we are hoping that this will never, ever happen again. And the intervention by the Budget Committee and this House should give precedence that we cannot be held hostage by the Senate of the Republic of Kenya. That there are Kenyans that need services provided for, and supremacy battles between individuals should not come at the expense of the welfare of our society. Most of the employees in our counties are young people. Some of us here probably can do without a salary for 3-4 months. But those newly employed people in the county governments cannot do with a salary for only 1 month. And then you starve them for 3 months just because you want to show who is superior and who is not. I would not like to talk beyond that, Mr. Chair, but I'd like to say this, Mr. Speaker. This should never be allowed to happen again. Let us take our our patriotism. Let us think about the welfare of the country beyond self. Let politics be backbench of a development, of a rule of law, of a progress of the great Republic of Kenya that our forefathers fought for very many years, that bled their blood so that this can be achieved. And with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Subanov.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I sit in the Budget Committee and I support. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank the executive for sorting out the impasse that we had that we had in the Senate. And Mr. Speaker, I come from the legal persuasion, which is a natural school of thought, where I believe the law was made for man and not man for the law. And sometimes it actually calls, we may actually have to make political decisions over mathematical decisions. And I know there are people who are not happy with that decision, but I know, for instance, that, for example, when we went to Naivasha, as a select committee, we let go of 90 seats that were for women so that the country could move forward, because then we gave them to the men in the single-member constituencies, which is a decision that is coming to haunt the House now. But we don't want to repeat that. We want to sort out this issue so that it's not an issue that plagues the House yet again. And because of that, members have spoken to the issue of the perimeters that are faulty. And Mr. Speaker, I just want to re-emphasize some of the perimeters that are not very good. And I want to say that even though land is presumed to include water, but there is a problem because there's a big difference between the challenges you face when you have mass of land and mass of water. I represent 7 islands, Mr. Speaker, one of which you go on water for 1.5 hours on a speedboat, Mr. Speaker, and if you're actually doing development going to that area, if you want to do the roads, most of the contractors don't want to go because mobilizing just one tractor costs $500,000 when on land it costs 70. So if 70,000, so if you don't factor in waterways as an issue, not even just waterways as an issue, together with the roads, then we are not being realistic. So I think we need to put water, which talks about access to water, and waterways. And then there's a presumption that people who are around Lake Victoria have access to water. If you go to Mfangano Island in a place called Soklo, the first time I ever went there before motorbikes, I would never reach there because I didn't have the physical capability of reaching. Right now, I use 3 different means of transport to reach there. I will use a 4-wheel, it goes up to a point, motorbike up to a point, then I walk for the rest of the way. So we must also factor all those issues. Then, Mr. Speaker, again, if you are talking about agriculture, without mentioning fisheries, it's also very lopsided, because fisheries and agriculture are totally 2 different things, and if you don't factor in fisheries, then the challenge is that we will not be looking at the challenges that fisheries have when we actually, the mainstay, for instance, in constituencies like mine is fisheries, not agriculture. You have agriculture, yes, but the greater bit of it is fisheries. And then, Mr. Speaker, we also need to unpackage when we talk about poverty. Does it include, for instance, mortality rates? And if so, for which year and which time? For instance, in my constituency, the mortality rate is 37 years. I think it's the highest in the country. And if we are factoring in this, how do we look at issues such as that, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, on fiscal responsibility and accountability, I actually consider it a double-edged sword. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I'm saying that is because it might be a good thing to deny governors that are actually corrupt and misusing money for counties. But the money is not theirs. What we need to do is hold those governors accountable, but each county needs to get their due resources. So really, where we are actually the ones who are at fault, we should not then punish the general populace for the guilt of governors. And Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the Honorable Duale when he says that we are not focusing on the national cake, that we are actually focusing on very little money, which is the devolved funds. And Mr. Speaker, it's just that my time is up, but I could have also given another history how we got to 15% and of this amount, which could have actually been less, but for my intervention, Mr. Speaker, in Naivasha, because I added there was not less than. And if I did not add those not less than, now the counties would be getting 5%, because that had actually already gone. But, Mr. Speaker, we still have 75% at the national government. Is there equity in the distribution of those sums, Mr. Speaker? And we need, as a House, to help, and even on the equalization fund, that has been a thorn in our flesh. Because if those are sorted, then the issues that we are dealing with here will be sorted. Mr. Speaker, I support with reservations.
Well, of course, this House is the one with the responsibility of oversighting the 85%. So if this House is, members of this House are the ones complaining they don't know, then it means that they haven't done their work properly. Member for Wajir West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. And from the beginning, let me thank the Budget and Appropriation Committee for doing this very fast, and also the Senate. Despite all the things that were going around the Senate, we must say that the senators have done their best to work on one Kenya. But the tragedy of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, in my view, is that we pass the buck on many issues we can handle ourselves. And we are in many problems because of not doing some of the things we are supposed to do, like the two-third gender, which is in our hands, whether to drop the whole article or not, or whether to raise the budget that goes to the counties from 15% to the 35%, because nothing stops Parliament to appropriate money to that effect. Mr. Speaker, there are many parameters used in this revenue sharing formula, and one of them is population. The tragedy about this is that it is based on the census results. And I can stand here and say that half of the people of Wajir West have not been counted, simply because these people are pastoralists. The Kenya Bureau of Statistics did not provide transport system for the enumerators and people collecting data. And the informations were only collected from people who are in divisions, locations, and settlements that are captured under the survey. So it is important that if we are going to talk about census results used as the population, then we must count every Kenyan, and that resources must be availed to reach every Kenyan where he or she is. On another parameter of health, we are talking about accessing level 5, 4, and 3. How do you access what you don't have? There are constituencies that do not have hospitals of this level. And unless it is the role of government to provide those services. So if you have not done and constructed such facilities, how do you again share our revenue on their accessibility, especially on times and places where they are not? How do you also talk about agriculture and look like you're only talking about crop production? Because livestock, fisheries, all those things are part and parcel of agriculture. It is important that the Budget Committee, and I'm proud that the chair is here, take cognizance of this formula and these parameters, and that the next budget that will come to the National Assembly, whether it is through the supplementary or the main budget which we are going to be subjected to this formula, so that this House, because anybody, any visitor to this country in the last 3 months will think that the only revenue available for this country is what goes to the counties. You will think the dramas and the issues that were created around the revenue sharing formula, that this is the only thing at stake. So I agree with the Speaker that it is this House that appropriates and oversights the monies that are spent at the national government level. And these monies must also be subjected to such formula so that development reaches every part of this republic, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, poverty index, because all these are dependent on data collected, where the individuals and the communities living far from areas that are surveyed, which also need the services that those in the urban centers need, have not been captured. How do we share formulas, revenue and money on the people, or on parameters that are not complete in their usage? So, Honorable Speaker, with this, I support the formula and the budget report. Thank you.
Member for Funyula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute and add my voice on the subject matter on the third basis of formula for revenue allocation between the counties. Honorable Speaker, I think the counties have suffered hard enough. It is important, whatever issues that we have with it, we pass it so to have a room to further ventilate and discuss on the matter. Honorable Speaker, I have looked at the formula that's proposed by
that was amended, first of all proposed by CRA and the one amended by the Senate. Honorable Speaker, from a casual look of it, some of the parameters that are proposed here, and in typical regression analysis, there could be a case of multicollinearity. That's to say, quite a number of these parameters are related and are a consequence of another. Therefore, this means, at the end of the day, there are counties that are bound to benefit because of multiple factors that are more or less related. Honorable Speaker, for example, naturally, land area would naturally go with the population in some cases. Likewise, land area is such an amorphous system to use because land that does not attract people means that that land is not productive and probably is marginal. It does not make a lot of sense to allocate substantial amount of percentage to the same. Nevertheless, Honorable Speaker, I do believe our colleagues from northern and eastern areas and the northern frontier have been very passionate about the land issue. However, it is important we appreciate as a country that they have the equalization fund, accepting that it has got a sunset clause. But we do believe if it is implemented in the 20 years that was proposed in the Constitution, then we should be able to address the challenges that seems to be wanting to be addressed on this matter. On this score, Honorable Speaker, indeed it is important, as my colleagues from the Lake region have said, the parameter of agriculture seems to be either narrowly defined because we have not seen the sub-parameters that are included in agriculture. I come from a constituency that half of the people solely depend on fishing, the blue economy, without very clear understanding or appreciation that agriculture encompasses the wider definition, including fishing, then our communities are going to remain disadvantaged for many years to come. The systematic discrimination that started the session paper of 1963 or 60-something is more or less again finding its way on this particular revenue sharing formula. Honorable Speaker, I would want the Budget and Appropriation Committee to unpack what do they mean by agriculture. On another point, Honorable Speaker, we have the issue of health. It's also not very clear. Is health measured by the number of people who go to hospital, who record formal visits to hospital, or is it measured by the number of people who fall sick and don't seek medication? Many of our communities, because of the lack of medicine in hospitals, generally have sought and treated themselves using alternative means. Will the data that is available be used to disadvantage this kind of communities? Honorable Speaker, there are too many gray areas in this formula. But since it's politically expedient for now to pass the formula, I would reluctantly approve the passage of the formula. But of course, there are constitutional issues raised. The promissory note of a further 58 billion. I'm sure Budget Appropriation Committee and my colleagues who have got legal mind will also have to unpack for us and understand where the miracle is going to happen. But since it was important to get the senators to agree so that they have something to write home about, let's pass it as it is and hope for the best. Finally, Honorable Speaker, as we appropriate money, it is important and extremely important, both at the national level and the county level, we must get all the executives, all the accounting officers to be accountable for the use of this money. It is public funds. Devolution was supposed to take this country far. It has done.
Well, honour members, the motion had a balance of 30 minutes. The 25 minutes have been spent with the last 5 speakers. So it's time for me to call on the mover to reply without question put, because that was by your resolution.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And as I reply, I want to thank all the members who have contributed on this motion. You have given a lot of information course, supported, but of course with a lot of reservation, which of course we had also observed in our report. Mr. Speaker, I want to make it very clear that this is not a formula from where we sit or from where I sit. It is more of a basis. It is more of a political formula. And we beseech the other house that maybe by next year they will relook at this and come up with a scientific formula. They have based this basis or this formula, so to speak, on a promise, on a moving target, that is 370 billion shillings, which of course is the responsibility of this house, not the other house, to set the figures that you go, the horizontal division of revenue, sorry, the vertical division of revenue, Mr. Speaker. So we hope that they will be able to address those issues. But finally, Mr. Speaker, the Senate took 1.5 months to deliberate. The Senate took 1.5 years to deliberate on a very simple thing, and to me, even to the committee, there is nothing that they did. Because even in this financial year, the 2020-2021, we will not use this formula. We will use the figures that were done in 2019-2020. But since we don't want to be seen to be the house that is blocking the release of resources to go to the counties, we will do it. We will do our part. We are also hoping that they are going to fast-track the CARA so that by next week, we are able to also pass that, but with that caution that by next year, Mr. Speaker, the Senate will revisit this issue and give the country a scientific formula. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to reply. Thank you.
Honourable members, and particularly members who contribute and then walk out, you do great disservice to the House. It's not right to just get a chance to contribute and then you sneak out, because we, like I observed, I'm aware that some members of various committees are going to travel to perform committee businesses later this evening. But nevertheless, honourable members, let me put the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Article 217, clauses 1 and 4 of the Constitution on allocation of the share of national revenue among the counties, this House concurs with the Senate and approves the third basis for the annual allocation of the share of national revenue to the county level of government for the financial year 2020 to 2021, 2020 to 2020/2021 to 2024/2025, which shall consist of the allocation ratio and the formula as appears on the order paper. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. As many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 9, special motion, approval of appointment of the registrar and assistant registrars of the political parties.
The chairperson, Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the following motion. That pursuant to the provisions of Article 217, Subarticle 1 and Subarticle 4 of the Constitution on allocation, no, sorry, I do apologize, reading the wrong motion. I apologize, I seek your indulgence, Mr. Speaker. I rise now to move this special motion that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs in its report on the vetting of the nominees for appointment of Registrar and Assistant Registrar of Political Parties, respectively, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, September 24, 2010, and pursuant to the provisions of paragraph 6 of the 6th schedule to the Political Parties Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of the following persons to the offices of the Registrar and Assistant Registrar of Political Parties. Roman 1, Ms. Anne Dirito for Registrar of Political Parties. Roman 2, Mr. Ali Abdullahi Suro, Assistant Registrar. 3, Mrs. Florence Tabu Beria as Assistant Registrar. And B, rejects the appointment of Mr. Macaulay Wilson Moshochi to the office of Assistant Registrar of Political Parties. Mr. Speaker, on 8 September 2020, you communicated to the House a message from His Excellency on the nomination of Ms. Annie Dedito for appointment to the position of Registrar of Political Parties, Mr. Abdullah Ali and Ms. Florence Tabuberia as Assistant Registrars for the appointment as Assistant Registrars. Mr. Speaker, statutory provisions appertaining to these appointments require that the notification together with the nominees' curricula were referred to the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs for consideration pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42, Substanding Order 3C. The committee's report contained observations, findings, and recommendations to the suitability or otherwise of the nominees. To comply with the relevant provisions of the law, on Thursday, 10th September 2020, the Clerk of the National Assembly, through advertisements in the local newspapers, the Daily Nation and the Standard, simultaneously invited the public to submit memoranda by way of written statements on oath on the suitability of the nominees to be appointed in the said offices. Such memoranda were to be received as stipulated in the advertisement. No memoranda were received contesting the nominees' suitability. But indeed, sir, the committee received memoranda in support of nomination of Ms. Anne Dirito for the appointment of Registrar of Political Parties. The committee conducted the vetting process for approval of the nominees on Friday, September 18th, 2020, with the special reference to the Constitution of Kenya, and to accord to the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approvals Act, Political Parties Act, the Leadership and Integrity Act, and the relevant provisions of the law. The clerk of the National Assembly requested, via his letter dated 9 September for the information regarding the nominee's status from the following agencies by acronym: EACC, KRA, DCI, ORPP, and HELP. Mr. Speaker, the said agencies did not have any outstanding issues with Ms. Ann Dirito, Mr. Ali Abdurahi Suaru, and Ms. Florence Tabu Beria as nominees for the said positions. However, the DCI indicated that his office was unable, I emphasize here, the DCI indicated that his office was unable to clear Wilson Makore Mochochi. The committee, on behalf of my committee, I wish to thank the offices of the Speaker and the Clerk of the National Assembly for the support extended to it in the execution of its mandate. Further, the committee appreciates the role of our Secretariat for dedicated service to the committee. The committee, having considered the curricula, that is the academic standards, the academic credentials, professional training and experience, and the constitutional and statutory requirements relating to those offices, and having seen and perused the requirement procedures undertaken by the Public Service Commission for the said approval, and having had submissions during the approval hearings, filed Mr. Ann Dirito, Mr. Ali Abdullah Swallow, and Ms. Florence Tabu Beria were suitably qualified for the appointment of the said positions. The committee found that Mukore Wilson Muhochi did not meet the relevant statutory requirements for the appointment of the position of Assistant Registrar of Political Parties. Finally, pursuant to the Standing Order 216 sub 5 and F, it is my pleasure and duty to present to the House the report of the vetting of the nominees with the following recommendations. One, that the House approves the nomination of Ms. Ann Dirito, Jerry Dirito, for the appointment as Registrar of Political Parties to His Excellency the President. Two, that the House approves the nomination of Ali Abdurahi Suaru for the appointment of Registrar, Assistant Registrar of Political Parties by His Excellency. Three, that the House approves the nomination of Ms. Florence Tabu Beria for the appointment of Assistant Registrar of Political Parties to His Excellency the President. That regrettably, and because of special circumstances, with very heavy heart, this House does not approve the nomination of Makole Wilson Muhochi for the appointment of Assistant Registrar of political parties. With those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move. I thank you, and now request Dr. Amoro, the Vice Chair of my committee, to second and perhaps elucidate further the grounds, particularly the grounds for the committee's failure to approve the case of Makore Wilson Muhochi. Thank you.
Honorable Dr. Tiende Amolo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will endeavor to be quite fast. First, the three first nominees whose approval we have sought the House to adopt. It was unanimous, and even the one rejected was unanimous. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, it is to be noted that each of the three are from different regions. The chair, the registrar, is from Nyandarua. Ali Suro is from Mandera. Florence Biria is from Kilifi. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, it is to be noted that while the qualification for the registrar is to be at least 15 years, the registrar nominee has 21 years. For the other two, we've recommended their nomination. It is to be at least 10 years. They each have 21 years and 19 years, respectively. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, is that in respect of each of all the nominees, we did not get any adverse reports. But in respect of the three nominees whose approval we have sought, we got approval reports from the DCI, who was unable to approve or clear the nominee whom we have rejected. Mr. Speaker, it is also important to note that each of those three nominees who we have sought approval for topped in the interview. And Deritu emerged number 1 out of the three names that were submitted to the President. The second nominee, Ali Suro, was number 2 out of 9 whose names were submitted. Number 1 was obviously omitted because she came from the same region as the nominee for registrar and from the same ethnicity. So obviously they had to come to number 2. Number 3, Florence Biria, emerged number 3 out of the 9. So obviously the President acted quite logically because there would have been a very good reason to omit those ones. Having said that, and lastly, it's also to note that each of those three nominees are quite highly qualified. All of them have at least a master's in their various fields. Mr. Speaker, let me explain why the committee found it difficult to approve the nomination of Makore Wilson Muhochi. Makore Wilson Muhochi comes from Migori County. And this is a young man of 26 years who demonstrated to us progressive thinking and a promising future, but who unfortunately is encumbered by certain statutory and other inhibitions that we could not overlook. The strongest one, and the first, Mr. Speaker, is the requirement of the law. This is a constitutional office, which then is also embedded in the Political Parties Act. The Political Parties Act, at section 33, requires you, 33(6), you must be qualified in at least one of 6 different disciplines. I will not read all of them, but the one that is relevant to this nominee is political science. 33(6)(c) then says, and this is important, that in the case of an assistant registrar has at least 10 years post-qualification experience in the relevant area of expertise, post-qualification experience. This nominee, and before I come there, let us read it together with the Public Appointment Parliamentary Approval Act. This one requires at section 7B that this House must take into account any constitutional or statutory requirements relating to the office in question. So we were required to establish that this nominee has 10 years post-qualification experience in political science, which was his area of study. Unfortunately, this nominee only qualified in his basic degree in the year 2017. And his post-qualification experience is there for 2 years. Mr. Speaker, if you had me just 2 minutes to wind up. The second issue, Mr. Speaker, that we found difficulty in, and it's captured in the report, is that this office requires some demonstration of non-partisanship. By his admission, this nominee admitted that he has been actively, until the point of applying, actively involved as a youth leader of the governor of his county, in the entire county. And we found that difficult to rationalize with non-partisanship. The third issue, Mr. Speaker, was that he was actually, although he's a...
No, an additional 3 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, we had great sympathy for this young man because he's a person living with disability, and usually we were required to bend over backwards. But if we could not help noting that of the 9 nominees, he's also the one who came in last as number 9. Now, that coupled with the fact that DCI was unable to clear him, and coupled with the fact that there were issues in his academics. He had made certain representations, which I do not want to go into details, but upon interrogation, did not appear to be in tandem with this CV. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, therefore, the committee came to the conclusion that we could not recommend his approval. But as I close, Mr. Speaker, 2 things are to be said of this. One, it is unfortunate that the Public Service Commission could overlook such a basic statutory requirement and therefore mislead the President into recommending a name which we are unable to approve, because we cannot go behind the statute. But as we do this, Mr. Speaker, I suggest that in future we should also ask the Committee on Integration and Cohesion to table for us the names cumulatively of all those who have been approved to the various commissions and constitutional bodies, so that, because under Article 250, it is required that the collectivity should reflect the regional and ethnic diversity of this country. As long as we keep looking at them one by one, we will not get that overall picture. We need that picture. With that, Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Well stated. I propose the question. Is that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs in its report of the vetting of the nominees for appointment as registrar and assistant registrars of political parties, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, October 24, 2020, and pursuant to the provisions of paragraph 6 of the 6th schedule to the Political Parties Act 2011, this House, A, approves the appointment of the following persons to the offices of the Registrar and Assistant Registrars of Political Parties. Roman 1, Ms. Anne Deritu, Registrar of Political Parties. Roman 2, Mr. Ali Abdullahi Surur, Assistant Registrar. Roman 3, Ms. Florence Tabu Biria, Assistant Registrar. And B, rejects the appointment of Mr. Makore Wilson Mohochi to the office of Assistant Registrar of Political Parties. Leader Majority.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I rise to support the report of the committee and to commend them for a job well done, in especially when a committee has to, look through how do we reject a nominee brought by, the whole process from advertising to the head of state putting the name here. And I really want to congratulate them for that. Because this is not the first time it's happened in this House, where we actually find a nominee does not fit the bill. But eventually, this House ends up approving. And we may be well setting the wrong precedent. And I really want to thank the committee for standing firm on this and coming up and saying that, yes, there are issues, and we should stick to those issues so that we are not seen as a parliament that just rubber stamps what comes into the House. Mr. Speaker, political parties obviously play a big role in in terms of ensuring that the democratic process takes place and is entrenched in this country, starting from particularly from the 90s, after the claim for multi-party democracy, and a critical institution to ensure that those political parties continue and are vibrant and they are not jokers is the office of the registrar. And it's a very odd situation that since the restoration of multipartyism, since the passage of the 2010 Constitution, the passing of the Political Parties Act, we are now 10 years down the line is when we are substantially filling that position. So we must thank, first of all the officers who have served in an acting capacity. Because when you serve in an acting capacity, you're working under threat. You could be relieved of your responsibility anytime. You have no security of tenure. But those officers have done their work diligently and have supported the growth of political parties for the last 10 years. And I think it's a sign of the dedication that these individual officers have put in that. And I want to really thank the committee for, first of all, even recognizing the acting registrar and recommending her to be to now be formalized in terms of as the substantive holder. Never mind that she comes from Nyandarua. In fact, I only learned the other day that she comes from Nyandarua because she's never acted that she wants to even be known that I'm either here or there, but as an officer of long standing. The other issue I just wanted to state is and I think I mentioned it, and I don't want to waste a lot of time on it. It's this issue of to thank our reference bodies, the DCI, the ESCC, the KRAs, and for doing their work. But one of the things, Speaker, that I want to share with this House is I had the opportunity of meeting the officers from the Kenya Revenue Authority who paid a courtesy call. And one of the things they said is that they actually receive these requests for certification almost close to the day before or 2 days before the committee is actually sitting. And perhaps they will need a longer period to interrogate a number of these officers before. So I would like to urge that perhaps we have that in mind, give them adequate time so that they can interrogate and give us the proper reports on all our nominees. And then we shall be doing proper justice to the nominees, whether pro or anti the recommendation. But be that as it may, I want to thank the committee for doing a good job. I want to congratulate those who will eventually be approved by this House, and to ask that they actually know that they have a bigger responsibility, especially as we go towards the transitional elections of 2022, to ensure that the growth of political parties is anchored and it's in their.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to support the motion as presented by the JLR committee. First, let me also praise and thank and congratulate the committee for doing a good job. In fact, the mover of the motion was very slow in moving the motion. We were really struggling to hear what he was saying, but was very detailed in his presentation. If you had the opportunity to really pay attention and listen to him, and he was seconded also very ably. I just want to say a few things. Number one, I want to agree with Honorable Amos Kimunya, the leader of majority, that this office is very important. The office of the Registrar of Political Parties, very critical in terms of promoting democracy in this country, management of political party affairs and political party matters. Kenya is a multi-party democracy, as the Constitution spells it out, and therefore management of political parties is very cardinal in helping further and opening the democratic space in this country. Mr. Speaker, I just want to speak on the register of political parties, because I must admit that I've not interacted with the other candidates. Regarding Anne Nderitu, who is the registrar or the nominee for the register of political parties, I must say that this is a lady that I find very capable, competent, and has the temperament to handle that office, because we all will agree that this office requires good emotional stability to be able to handle the many complaints that you receive from political parties, some of which are very weird, because sometimes you find even the owner of the party being removed from the party, like the case of Third Way Alliance. And there are all kinds of madness in our political parties. So you require someone who has that stability to be able to manage and listen to all these people with divergent views. Like right now, we don't even know clearly, although myself, I believe that the leader of Ford Kenya is Wafula Wamunyinyi, but there are others who believe it is Moses Wetangula. So you require Anne Nderitu to deal with all these things. And Mr. Speaker, many others, including people who claim that parties have made a decision without calling party organ meetings. So, Mr. Speaker, this is not an easy job. And I think Anne Nderitu, I've interacted a lot with her. Even apart from handling and managing those issues, even the issues of helping parties promote financial management in terms of looking at our budget estimates. Those who have not been involved very closely in managing political party affairs may not have this information. I want to say here categorically that I think the president got the right person. In fact, this lady, I was wondering why she has been acting for far this long. But now that we have an opportunity to confirm her, I want to support that this House approves this appointment so that the president can appoint her to run this office substantively. But, Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank and congratulate the committee chaired by the great lawyer Muturi Kigano, that you have also proved those who have been imagining and saying that National Assembly does not disagree with the executive. And I have no evidence in this parliament, Mr. Speaker, especially this 12th parliament, where we are just an appendage of the executive. Where is it that we have passed something that has come from the executive that is against the public interest? And so if this committee could reject appointment or proposed a nomination by the president of a nominee who has been found to miss the basic qualification requirement, I want to say thank you very much and congratulations for that job well done. Finally, Mr. Speaker, and I want to agree, I think it was Honorable Tiende who said it. Surely, if the qualification criteria is 10 years post qualification experience, Mr. Speaker, how on earth would even a candidate with only 2 years pass the shortlisting stage, leave alone even interview? You are not even supposed to have appeared at the interview stage. So, Mr. Speaker, with those remarks, I want to say I support the motion.
Member for Injera.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to contribute to this report of the committee. Mr. Speaker, from onstart, I want to support the report and congratulate the members of the committee for job well done. Secondly, I want to congratulate the registrar of political parties, a person who I know, a person who I've interacted with, and I want to say that congratulations to her. And we know for fact that political parties is a very, very important office, an office that is supposed to oversight all political parties' activities, to oversight the management and internal affairs of all political parties. We have of late seen many political parties that have problems in this country, and it it is this particular office that is supposed to see, to oversight, to see the management and to see the problems and to solve the conflicts that are within those political parties, Mr. Speaker. And being a country that we are proud of, personally I'm proud of my country, and a country that I feel is a democratic country. We know what we have gone through. We know and how we struggle as a country to achieve the 2010 Constitution. We have been in the streets. We have been in Bomas. Personally, I was a delegate in Bomas. I was a committee member of Bishop Solometi Consensus Building Team. And finally, I was in Naivasha with Mheshimiwa Mili, who is seated there, Mheshimiwa Kioni, whom we have differed many times on issues that both of us felt passionate about, issues that are important for this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and for us, she has acted many, many years, and for her to be nominated, to be confirmed as an office bearer, then I'm very happy that then she will have her independence and she will be able to stand very firm, and she will be able now to, deal with political parties that have had a lot of challenges and problems in this country, Mr. Speaker, because now, as we discuss and approve her name, and we approve that her other colleagues, then that office will have the teeth to bite. It will have a capacity to manage its mandate, Mr. Speaker, and I think it is the right time, because this is the time we really need to put all our systems in place, all our organs in place, because if we do not do that, then we'll be very late. Elections are around the corner, and we must have all our system, be it IEBC. We know IEBC has an issue, it has a problem, and now that we are talking about the political parties office, then the next we need to look into is the IBC team. We really need to look into that office to see into it that we do have a group who are well constituted, who have the mandate, who can stand. Because today, it's a fact well known that we have a challenge with IEBC in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I want again to say congratulations to the team. And I want to follow where the minority leader left by saying, and we are proving that even when the executive sends a name to Parliament, then the Parliament can critically look at it, and it can check properly and can refuse that and reject because of not we are rejecting because of we hate the person or we know the person, but because of criteria, qualification, and the mandate that this person is supposed to undertake in this country. And this office is very important. So I'm saying to the committee, congratulations, and we will stand by you and we will support you. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Dur.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to, from the onset, congratulate the committee and to thank them for a very clearly expressed indication, Mr. Speaker, of suitability of those who they are presenting to us as competent, as experienced, and as qualified. Mr. Speaker, it is extremely important that we get the right leadership, particularly in the political parties, because as has been indicated by both the chair of the committee and the minority leader, and very clearly explained by the vice chair, we want to be seen to observe statutory regulations. Mr. Speaker, I support the committee report from a large extent because, as I sat here, Mr. Speaker, I reflected on experience that has been gathered, and Mr. Speaker, allow me, I felt I needed to speak to my experience. Mr. Speaker, I opted not to fly to Mombasa for my committee report today because out of commitment, Mr. Speaker, I had a statement which Mr. Speaker had been informed, having followed very meticulously, that was going to be presented today. And Mr. Speaker, as you rightly indicated, that we do not just come up with interventions out of nowhere. I also, in a very committed way, sought to get that intervention. I indicate this, Mr. Speaker, at this point because I must say at this point in history, with the journey that I have walked, seeking to get equitable, not just voice, but in a way, Mr. Speaker, that we work in our systems to allow, particularly sometimes perception that those who are of the other gender, Mr. Speaker, might not be as qualified to play certain roles. I feel that it is extremely useful that at this particular time we see Anne Deritu, who, Mr. Speaker, I think as we look at, we do not in any way begin to see her gender, but we can clearly, as we look at the terrain of political parties, as we look at the challenges that the political parties experience, we can see that this is a Kenyan, that indeed, in your words, Mr. Speaker, we might not need to be saying chairman, we might say chairperson, but we would indeed see that what they are saying is correct. And so, Mr. Speaker, as I support this report, I felt that it was a useful point in our history to encourage us at whatever level we are to allow that we do not in any way bring sometimes preconceptions or stereotypes, and we do not, when we are looking at people to hold positions, seek to determine whether or not their gender or some other level, ability or youth come into play. And therefore, as I support this committee, Mr. Speaker, I am hoping that there is a sense in which all of us in our country, looking in particular at Chapter 6, which I see the committee referring to, looking in particular at our laws, which I see the committee is indicating in the statutory requirements, looking in particular at competence, which the committee has indicated, I do sincerely hope, Mr. Speaker, that we will, in the country, look at this. And I hope, Mr. Speaker, that it might not be seen that there might be members of parliament who are not committed. I want, Mr. Speaker, to say and go on record that I have twice somehow been on the wrong side, if you could put it that way, when it comes to the statements. And, Mr. Speaker, I felt that it would really have been useful that if a statement, as I had indicated earlier, I had been informed was going to be presented. I don't think, Mr. Speaker, that this is on your plate because you gave us good guidance. But I am actually just registering that it would have been useful for the chair, because then, as the National Cohesion Committee member, I have opportunity to hear what Honorable Tiende said, and I will tell my chair. But I feel somehow a little...
Honorable Wangwe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me also to join my colleagues in appreciating the report by the committee, where I'm also a member. And on the onset, also thank and congratulate Madam Deritu Anne for her being nominated as the registrar of political parties. Honorable Speaker, Anne appeared before our committee, and her presentation was very, very, what I would say, smart and accurate. She was very positive. She gave us her humble beginning in terms of the civil service career, having begun her career as a teacher and grew up into being an inspector, where she began to be the first AIE. Honorable Speaker, my background being that concerned with finance, I was very much impressed that for all that long, she has never Honorable Speaker, had any accusation nor any dark statement on her side pertaining AI holding in the civil service. Honorable Speaker, long has gone that most civil servants could mess up in terms of accounting for resources and managing public funds. Honorable Speaker, Anne Deritu came out very, very clear, very smart, a very eloquent civil servant who demonstrated the ability, Honorable Speaker, to really manage the political party's fund, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in terms of the experience of what she is going to handle as the registrar of political parties, I felt, Honorable Speaker, that this originated from her being a manager from IEBC. She grew up with IEBC, Honorable Speaker, and especially her last participation as a tutor in terms of training and managing the electoral process in IEBC in 2017, Honorable Speaker, came out very, very distinctive, very accurate, and in my opinion, Honorable Speaker, it gave me an eye that Anne Deritu is the best qualified person for this office, Honorable Speaker. Considering, Honorable Speaker, that the predecessor, Madam Lucy Nderitu, had held this office for about, Lucy Ndungu has held this office for about 8 years without being confirmed, Honorable Speaker. That was terrible, and I feel, and I felt as well that time, that time is due, that it's good and it's important, and we appreciate the President for nominating Anne Njeri Nderitu to be the registrar. Honorable Speaker, the times ahead of us is political, and we are all going to face the political turbulence in terms of appearing before the political parties, and some of the questions we are posing to her on interactive basis, Honorable Speaker, which might not have been the report, is how is she going to react to members? How is she going to react to political parties who are under dispute? She could easily separate Lucy Ndungu herself and Lucy Ndungu acting as the registrar of political parties. That distinction, Honorable Speaker, was very critical, very important, so that if there is a dispute, Honorable Speaker, political parties are run by the members of that political party, not the registrar, Honorable Speaker. That distinction came out very clearly, and I feel she is the right person for the job. Honorable Speaker, for the case of Mohochi, Honorable Speaker, I want to associate myself with the issue of the CEO for CDF when he appeared before this House, Honorable Speaker, but because he was not qualified in terms of the law, this House voted that professor out of being the CEO of CDF. Similarly, situation, Honorable Speaker, Mr. Mohochi does not qualify in terms of statutory provisions as it is today, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, it will be important, Honorable Speaker, that this House votes not to approve the name of Mr. Mohochi because he did not qualify in terms of the ethics. We cannot really verify because the DCI is also not sure of this person. Honorable Speaker, this person lacks the 10-year mandatory requirement as per the Political Parties Act, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, in terms of law, this person does not qualify, and therefore I'll be asking also to support that this person is not appointed, Honorable Speaker, as an
Member for Ganze, Mwambire.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to also demonstrate my support to the report from the committee. Mr. Speaker, if you read the report and hear the sentiments shared by both the chair and the vice chair, it is clear that this committee made a very good observation and analysis of the 4 members. And the recommendation is quite fair, Mr. Speaker, because one, they have all looked at their education background and professionalism, and even the one whom they have recommended not to be given an opportunity to serve, they have gone ahead to give details which are very clear. And I also congratulate him because looking at the circumstances which made him to come all along to the committee, it means he had a courage. And he should also be advised to to next time to at least think twice, because he's somebody who is living with disability. I think that is the reason why he thought he would get that opportunity. But Mr. Speaker, looking at the issues at the Registrar of Political Parties office, there has been a lot of issues. And solving those issues, Mr. Speaker, in most cases becomes very difficult if someone is not confirmed, if somebody is just acting like the issue of Anne Nderitu. Mr. Speaker, I believe from now henceforth, after adoption of this report, all the issues that we have been having in our political parties will be streamlined, and I believe the issues that we which normally even trickle to the Assembly, will never be seen again. I support the report, Mr. Speaker, and believe that after giving them an opportunity, we'll see the change that we have been always yearning for. Thank you very much for according me this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to share my support.
Honorable Danita Gatti.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. To, first of all, Mr. Speaker, congratulate Madam Anne Nderitu, because Mr. Speaker, Madam Anne Nderitu has worked in this country in her line with a lot of soberness, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think I'm so gender. Madam Anne Nderitu has really worked well at the office of the Registrar of Political Parties. Mr. Speaker, it is such a wonder why, Mr. Speaker, with such a huge responsibility that is the office of the Registrar of Political Parties, that one works there in an acting capacity. It is not good, Mr. Speaker, and it is a shame. That is the same scenario, Mr. Speaker, that the previous holder of that office, Madam Lucy Ndungu, you remember, also served in that capacity of acting for a long time, Mr. Speaker. And that should really tell us that, really, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to offices, I don't know why we put ladies, Mr. Speaker, to act for so long without being, confirmed. How do you handle an office like that without being confirmed for you to be able to exercise your mandate? Mr. Speaker, Madam Anne Nderitu has really worked with us, and especially women, Mr. Speaker, really taking us through the issues of women. And you know very well that is the office that really handles the political parties fund, Mr. Speaker. And we have really gained a lot as women of this country in terms of these issues of governance, Mr. Speaker, and the democratic space that we as women also enjoy in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, what I do not agree with the committee recommendation, one is where they reject a person with disability and a youth in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know Mr. Wilson Makore personally. I know him as a young person, Mr. Speaker. And for me, it really brings me back to the question, where do we put young people who are struggling? And where do we put persons with disabilities, Mr. Speaker, who are also struggling? Mr. Speaker, sir, the mere virtue of a person with disability having to have that confidence to walk into Nairobi and to offer himself, Mr. Speaker, to be interviewed, to be an assistant registrar, Mr. Speaker, should also try to look at it in a way, Mr. Speaker, that really gives persons with disabilities opportunities in this country. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the report of the committee, what the committee is saying, Mr. Speaker, is that Mr. Wilson Makore did not actually provide the report from DCI, the certificate of good conduct. Mr. Speaker, if you look at what they're saying, is that the Directorate of Criminal Investigations indicated that his office was unable to clear Mr. Makore as the police clearance application was still in the process. Mr. Speaker, at least it was still in the process. Not that, it was, he had produced, he had actually indicated that he had even gone to DCI and applied. So, Mr. Speaker, that is a mere, for me, as much as it is a statutory requirement, Mr. Speaker, that should also have made them to think of this is a person with disability, Mr. Speaker, who is offering himself for a position in this country, Mr. Speaker. This is a person with disability, Mr. Speaker, first of all, who comes also from a minority community in this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is unfortunate that every time we are talking about a county like Migori, we only think that Migori is a Luo Migori. Migori has Kuria Migori, Mr. Speaker. Migori has also Somali Migori. We are communities, Mr. Speaker, and the whole idea of putting people under one, it becomes a little difficult. Mr. Speaker, sir, The other requirement, Mr. Speaker, because this Makora is courier, by the way, and the courier in this country have been so marginalized for a long time since the eras of Honorable Machage, who was here in this house, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, it's not only about tribe. It is also about the effort of a person with disability, a youth with disability, trying, Mr. Speaker, to offer themselves, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you look at the report, it says that the committee did not receive any objection to this person, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, if they did not reject any objection to his interview, why, Mr. Speaker, can't the committee give such a young person an opportunity to grow? We know it is a big office. The guy has never committed any crime, Mr. Speaker. I know we are talking about regional representation, and the committee has brought about the faces of Kenya. It has a face of Kenya. But, Mr. Speaker, denying a person with disability, who, Mr. Speaker, we know the challenges that they go through to get an education, to get training, Mr. Speaker. How then are we going to actualize the 5% employability in this country if we deny such young people opportunities, Mr. Speaker, to present themselves before the committee? Mr. Speaker, I want to urge you, Mr. Speaker, from where you sit, Mr. Speaker, to give this guy another opportunity, or to give another...
Unfortunately, the Constitution bars me from voting, so I may not express myself one way or other. Member for Mandela East.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. From the onset, I want to support the report of the committee and thank the committee members, the chairman and the vice chair, for having done such a good work. Mr. Chairman, it's very clear that from the nominees that the two assistant registrars come from very humble counties, the county of Kilifi and the county of Mandera. And this has really given that despite Kilifi and Mandera being marginalized, we can be able to produce learned people like Surau and Florence, and myself as well. And having said that, I wish to support the report.
Member for Tetu. Oh, these are members who put their cards on the... Another member for... member for Taveta.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia fursa hii ili niweze kuongea juu ya mwandishi mkuu wa vyama vya kisiasa hapa nchini. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwanza nataka kusema kuwa nimefurahi kuwa katika hali hii ya Mheshimiwa Rais kutuletea majina hapa, alikuwa ameleta majina mawili ya wanawake na majina mawili ya wanaume. Hilo nampongeza sana Mheshimiwa Rais kuwa aliona kuwe na usawa katika ugawaji wa kazi hii ambayo zilikuwa ni ofisi za watu wanne. Mheshimiwa Spika, najua tuko katikati sasa hivi ya masuala ya jinsia na nataka kumpongeza Rais kwa kufanya huo uamuzi. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa ufupi tu ningependa kusema katika hao wote wanne, Anne Ritu na Florence Biria ni kina dada ambao nawafahamu kazi yao, nawafahamu kwa muda mrefu, sikuwafahamu leo, na na imani kuwa wataweza kazi hii. Na kulingana na kubobea kwa kazi kwa Anne Ritu ni kuwa ni sawa, amepatiwa kuwa mwandishi mkuu katika kusimamia vyama vya kisiasa hapa nchini. Mheshimiwa Spika, Florence Biria pia namfahamu, ninajua anaweza kazi na bila shaka atafanya kazi nzuri. Kwa uchache tu ningependa kuzungumzia juu ya kijana huyu ambaye kusema kweli nafikiria Mheshimiwa Rais alikuwa ameamua kupeana kwa mlemavu na pia awe ni kijana. Ningependa kusema kuwa kijana huyu ambaye ni mlemavu, Mheshimiwa Rais alimchagua kwa nia safi, isipokuwa ukiangalia sheria vile ilivyo ni kuwa hakutoshea na hakubobea kuwa kwenye nafasi hiyo. Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna umuhimu wa kuwa kijana huanza kwa kutambaa ndio aweze kukimbia. Ukiangalia sana, mimi ningependelea kuwa walemavu wapatiwe, ningependelea kuwa jamii ndogo kama Wakuria pia wapatiwe nafasi, kwa sababu ni haki yao kupatiwa nafasi, lakini isiwe kuwa mtu ambaye akianza kazi hajafanya kazi kwa muda unaofaa, kwa muda mrefu, na pia kwa umri wake. Kazi kama hii ni kazi nzito, sio nyepesi. Mheshimiwa Spika, nakubaliana na taarifa hii iliyotolewa na kamati hii kuwa hao watatu wapatiwe kazi na huyu mmoja aanzishwe kutambaa kwanza kabla hajafika kwenye kazi ya ofisi kubwa kama hiyo. Natoa shukurani kwa kamati kwa kazi ile iliyofanya, na nikimalizia pia ni kumrudishia Mheshimiwa Rais shukurani kuwa ametupatia nafasi, na haswa nafasi 2 kwa kina mama kati ya nafasi 4. Hilo ni jambo limenifurahisha, na sasa hivi ni nafasi 2 kati ya nafasi 3. Hivyo basi kwa sasa hivi thuluthi 2 zimeangaliwa na Mheshimiwa Rais. Asante sana.
Thuluthi. Member for Kabondo Kaspur.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I too want to appreciate the committee for a job well done, and congratulate the 3 candidates for being approved this afternoon. Mr. Speaker, I do note, as my colleagues have said, that the candidates have the requisite qualification, academic and experience to do this job. Mr. Speaker, I believe that the committee was thorough, and on issues like this, I would call for consistency. Mr. Speaker, this is a House of Records. And when we approve these names, I'm sure that the citizens out there would be able to go back to some of our decisions to see whether there were consistencies in what we have said today and what we said yesterday. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the youth, I'd also want to say that there are certain jobs that require a certain level of maturity and experience, and they are clearly spelled out in the terms and conditions of service in almost all government organizations. And therefore, I am in agreement that the young man is still young, too young, and the years of experience are too short to be able to handle an office of this nature. So issues of ethnicity and all that, I get a bit sensitive about them, particularly when they are brought in a case like this, because I really don't think that was an issue when they were making that decision to deny the young man this job. Even when it comes to disability, there are certain positions that I don't think you should get simply because of your condition. I don't think so. That once we spell out your qualification, disability is not inability. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support the committee's report, and I support appointment of the 3 candidates who this afternoon have been approved by the House. Thank you very much. I support. Thank you.
Let's then get a one from the elderly. Member for Kitutu Chacha North.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Mr. Speaker, for recognizing.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola. Taste the simple joys.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
The livestock keepers of the arid lands in northern Kenya who have now embraced farming are standing to be counted.
Wakati tulianza ilimaliza kujenga hii greenhouse, tulianza kupanda haba kwa nyanya.
This week on Project 254.
Shamba hiyo unafaa sisi sana, sababu yake ile matunda yanatoka sisi na peleka soko.
Watch it on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Tunakupa burudani.
Na umbea, yani stories zinazo trend kwenye mitandao ya kijamii.
See baby now we are two in one. We are two in one. Interview kali za wasanii wapendao. Mguu pande panda milima. Aoye izungushie hapo ma. Kama una
ndani ya March of Life kupitia KBC Channel 1 na Pwani FM.
Kuanzia mida ya saa 3 mpaka mida ya 5 kamili asubuhi. Ukiwa nami ni Teken 1GB.
Mimi ni Marco. Keep it locked.
Silikwambia ulinihukumu vibaya, ukaamini walichosema, ukanitoa kafara. Ni kama ulisubiri nifeli Maria, ukaona sitegeki, ukanisingizia. Ni kama ulisubiri nifeli Maria, ukaona sitegeki, ukaona sitegeki. Sema nini wewe, dunia niliona chungu, sikujua wapi pa kupapasa. Kasema kitabu kimefika mwisho wa ukurasa, wache uende, nikaona wache uende. Wewe basi niache, ay, mbona unanifuata ghafla umenimisi? Nilichokifata ukupata, Mungu kanipa mimi. Una moyo wa kupenda, ibilisi shetani manyakunyaku. Onyota imezima, zimefika ukingoni mbio za sakafu. Nakuchukia ulivyoniacha panda njia, sasa unakumbuka zangu fadhila, unarudi unalia, tena najutia, mbona mwanzo mimi nikakuzimia. Nakumbuka mama kiniambia, unapuliza kunia, hizi midani za po, nyumbani nina to, tena ni wa moto, anasubiri kunipa jototo. Sina fungu saba, kama so yangu, usitonganganya, mimi nani nimbishe Mola.
Nimeshoboka, nataka nibaki nawe, nahisi nimetamani
nikupe vya kukupagawisha.
Nishakuona unavyoniyemelea. I'm not your ordinary girl. Chunga,
zangu hisia umezikoroga, na macho haya nagapazia, tanasha umeniroga, we dada.
Masauti, don't rush. You can look baby but you can't touch. Nasikupi, yani mpaka nikuelewe.
So kama nakunyemelea, nikamoyo kangu kamelegea, mapenzi mazoea, ukininyima upendo nitachanganyikiwa. Oh no 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 no, mimi nakupenda kikweli. Oh no 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 no, mimi so wale matapeli. Oh no 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 no, ukiniacha nitafeli. Oh no 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 no, oh no.
If you're serious, prove it to me. I'm curious, I wanna know. Sitaki michezo nawe, kuchezea moyo.
Moyo wangu kipenda, unapenda kweli, nilosema na maanisha.
And I see what you're saying, but you could be playing me. Oh, wakando unanitisha.
Siwezi kukutenda wala kukejeli, ujanja wote kwangu umenisha.
I know you've been trying, but boy, don't you lie to me.
Nisitokudanganya.
Masauti, don't rush. You can look, baby, but you can't touch. Nasikupi, yani mpaka nikuelewe.
So kama nakunyemelea, nikamoyo kangu kamelegea, mapenzi mazoea, usininyime upendo, niamini.
Oh, no, 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 je ne suis pas si facile. Oh, no, 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 I'm not that easy, nimechill. Oh, no, 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 I'm good, I can pay my own bill. Oh, no, 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 no.
I've been there before. I wanna give you license, you take over the city. KGL Menyeko, you come in for the money. Take it easy, don't complicate it. Be fat is simple, mommy. Take time, don't rush it. Girl, you know me, the movie control it. So whenever you like, we can stay up till the morning. Sweet lover, you're the only one. Pick up the phone, just the hands, sweet lover. I wanna look at you, baby, kidogo, Katerina. Say whatever you say, she's my new lover. I deserve her. I wanna look at you, baby, kidogo, Katerina. Hey, say whatever you say, she's my new lover. I deserve her. I could be a instructor, I could be your guide, I could be the leader, we go to the Kumurongo. I could be your vodka, in the Harry Taylor. You don't have to worry, girl, I'm looking for your lover. These things I see you've been doing, I like it, baby, how you moving. You don't know you can do it yourself. They can when they can be calling myself. Mommy, yo, I think about showing you to mama. Baby, you the movie, you can stay for longer. Putting on me how you did the moody weekend. Call me anytime you can come over. Take it easy, don't complicate it. Be fat is simple, mommy. Take time, don't rush it. Girl, you know me, the movie control it. So whenever you like, we can stay up till the morning. Sweet lover, you're the only one. Pick up the phone, kiss the hands, sweet lover. I wanna look at you, baby, kidogo, Katerina. Say whatever you say, she's my new lover. I deserve her. I wanna look at you, baby, kidogo, Katerina. Hey, say whatever you say, she's my new lover. I deserve her.
I really wanna tell you how my day went. Really want to spend the weekend. I for sure you this thing I'm feeling.
Oh yeah, but I don't really know you that well.
I really wanna
wanna kiss you in the face, baby. And maybe every other place, baby. You be like, say I don't remember, say I don't really know you that well.
We can go there if I want to, but me, I don't know why I think I love you when I don't really know you that well. We can go there if I want to, but me, I don't know why I think I love you when I don't really know you that well.
I'm too polite to insult your intelligence. Why do I believe that we have met? Maybe not in this life. Time's frozen for a second, so I'm thinking tonight. Break the ice, or better still, we can set it aside. Temporarily, my temperature is telling me that you got me so hot. Stop, girl, there is no remedy. But you don't know me well enough to reply. And I don't really know you that well. It's funny, you have something in your teeth, but would you try to stop me if I want to take it out? Cause you don't know me properly. Girl, I think you're lovely, but you turn this bad boy into a busybody. I see you're too busy for me. Or maybe I'm just busy for me. Will you call me when you're ready for me? It's crazy, baby, how I don't care at all that I don't really know you that well.
I really wanna tell you how my day went. Really want to spend the weekend. I for sure you this thing I'm feeling.
Oh yeah, but I don't really know you that well.
I really wanna kiss you in the face, baby. And maybe every other place, baby. You be like, say I don't remember, say I don't really know you that well.
We can go there if I want to, but me, I don't know why I think I love you when I don't really know you that well. We can go there if I want to, but me, I don't know why I think I love you when I don't really know you that well.
So you be my controller. See me, see this parola. I just wanna come home to you. Spend every night telling bad jokes to you. Be my boyfriend, I'll be up in my boyfriend jeans. I go baby with my boyfriend jeans. If you want my boyfriend, I'll be up in my boyfriend dreams. But I don't really know you that well. I wanna go with you, do this life with you, ride or die for you.
Yeah, Pamela, don't leave me hanging on. If it's for your love, I do with you. Anything I do, baby, forgive me. Pamela, don't leave me hanging on. For your love, I do with you. Anything I do, I beg you, make you forgive me. Pamela, don't leave me hanging on. Make you forgive me. Pamela, don't leave me hanging on. Pamela, make you forgive me. I wanna be a number one, oh, yeah. Tell me make a carry gun, oh. Verily I say unto you, if a man no gets in, make it through the best door. I say unto you, come and follow me, go. Baby, you be my oh yo. Baby, make you never leave me solo. If you leave me, I go low. I promise not to ever do like go to. Yeah, Pamela, don't leave me hanging, oh. If it's for your love, I do with you. Anything I do, baby, forgive. Pamela, don't leave me hanging, oh. For your love, I do with you. Anything I do, I beg you, make you forgive me, oh. Pamela, don't leave me hanging, oh. Make you forgive me, oh. Pamela, don't leave me hanging, oh. Pamela, make you forgive me, oh.
Every day you make my life uneasy. Walking in the streets acting so sleazy. You hang around with Aisha, Fatuma. All of them know each other and they know me. What are you